All right, I think we are live. Hey guys, welcome back to Benham's channel. If you've seen us before, hopefully this is one of your live streams that you've attended with us. If you don't know about us, we do product reviews, tutorials. We have a live chat feature on our website. We are joined today. Hopefully Trong is back. I can't quite tell yet, but let me do around some introductions here. For those of you that don't know, my name is Brian of Benham Brewing. We've done some work with Trong, and we love doing these live brew days. And it's always fun to have him on and talk about his inventions and things that he's done. And this is an opportunity for you guys in the chat to kind of brew along with us, or just join in the chat, ask questions, and kind of learn something, and maybe teach us some stuff too. That always makes it fun. Today, producing our live show is my partner in crime, Christy.
Hello.
She's got her cat ears on, ready to go. So we're excited to be here, and we're excited to do it. Does Trong look like he's ready to be on? Trong, are you there with us? He might have stepped away for a minute. He may be just a couple minutes, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and get kind of started, and we'll bring him in as soon as he becomes available. It looks like we have quite a few people joining us today. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys could let us know in the chat which one of you, or if any of you guys are brewing along with us today, and what you think of our recipes so far. We'll maybe take a few questions or so if you guys want to give us a little shout out and let us know what you're brewing, if you're brewing what we're brewing. All right, well, while Christy's getting those pulled up here, Christy, do we have any questions from the chat or any comments?
No.
Just some hellos and things?
Yeah, we have someone on the chat that's getting their greens ready right now.
Awesome,
so, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we got our water preheated, so we are about ready to mash in, and we'll mash in once Trong gets kind of ready to go. I think I saw him briefly. He might have been running around. If you guys have done any of the Zoom calls with Trong or actually done the streams with him, he's all over the place. He has to run to his shed, get a new invention, come back. So he's always on the move.
Yeah, and it looks like his mic is still muted, so he's probably just getting things
He's getting
going.
things ready.
Yep.
All right, so we'll go ahead and review the recipe here real quick. Christy, if you don't mind throwing that up on our board. So we're doing a Doppelbock today. It's similar to the Celebrator, which is a delicious Doppelbock. We actually have a lot of fun with it. So the grain bill is relatively simple. We're doing about 4 pounds, 1.8 kilograms of a German Pilsner malt, 11 ounces, or, and forgive me, my eyesight's horrible, 311 grams of Munich, 5 ounces, or 141 grams of Carapils, 4 ounces, 113 grams of Cara Munich, and then 2 ounces, or 56 grams of chocolate malt. So we'll get a good crush on that. We're doing brew in a bag today. And we're actually doing a multi-step mash, which, you know, there's probably some debate on whether that's necessary with our highly modified malts nowadays. Me, I'm kind of like brewing, and I like to be a traditionalist, so we're doing a multi-step mash. So we'll start with a protein rest for about 15 minutes at about 122 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 C. We'll step up into a saccharification rest at about 30 minutes at 144 Fahrenheit or 62 C. And then we'll finish our mash at a typical mash temperature, 156 for 45 minutes or 69 C. Once we get into the boil, we'll kind of take a look at the hop schedule again and get kind of rolling with that. So any comments on people who are brewing with us? Or
No, there isn't. But we could introduce JB, who's with us today.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So joined with us, and if you guys have checked out our podcast before, the Hot Break Craft Beer Cast, you know, in addition to myself and Christy, we are frequently joined, if not always joined, by JB from Vexette. JB, do you want to, if you want to, we're trying to figure out which camera to go to here.
What's up? How are you guys doing?
There he is.
Yeah.
So JB, if you haven't seen his stuff, he does some really cool things with art and flavor. His brand is Vexette. You can find him on YouTube. It's VEXXET. He does a lot of cool stuff, and he's taught us a lot and joined us on our journey. So we appreciate him just tagging along. He's doing some behind the scenes stuff today.
If you have a chance, I'm doing a 50 painting challenge. Check it out. Not right now. After this. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, thanks, JB. We appreciate it very much. All right, I think we got Trong ready to go.
Yep.
Trong, sir.
All right.
There we go. Hey, can you hear us? I hope. Trong? He's not. Is he muted? I think he's muted. Is he not? We're taking a look here. Man, we just got this whole thing sorted out too. We were having some audio issues. We ended up having to switch out a computer. Trong, there you are. I think I can hear you. All right, you want to say something again for me, sir?
Okay. You hear now?
Yeah, sounds
Yes.
good.
You
I'm
hear
gonna
me
turn
now?
up a little
Okay,
bit.
good. All right.
All right, I think I can hear you
All
okay.
right.
Can you hear me okay?
All right. I think it sounds good.
All right, chat, how does he sound? Can you guys hear him okay?
Hey, question: are we doing live? How do people join us?
So the link, which takes them to YouTube, is on our on actually the Pot-Au-Brew website. Is the link for the event. I also posted that on Facebook. So yeah, they can click on that link and join. It looks like we've got I think 2 or 3 people in the chat right now, or that are watching the stream.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have a couple more join on. I know there were 3 that wanted to make it, and then possibly 2 more, and who knows who else will jump on and join us. So.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. So Trong, let's do a quick introduction for you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys that don't know, this is Trong from Homebrewer LAB, and we are brewing on his Pot-Au-Brew system today. Trong has a number of innovations that he has done, and we're going to maybe talk about some of those inventions, and we'll dive into the yeast farmer a little bit today. But once we get the mash going, we got to get this thing rolling here. So Trong, anything you want to jump in and say before we start mashing? We've already kind of reviewed the recipe. We'll cover the hop schedule a little bit later. We have our strike temperature, at least for us, is ready to go. Are you anything you want to add, or are you good to go?
Yeah, I just I got my grain here all mixed up. You know, according to your recipe. I have my strike water here on the induction heater.
Yes.
And everything set is correctly. So all we need to start. I'm really looking forward to do more of these things because of course when we brew it takes some time, so we'll have a lot of downtime, waiting time, and we can chit chat and share. It's like a party. So I think we should call it a brew along party, and at a global party because people from anywhere can join. In the future.
Correct. Yep.
I have a fellow in Denmark who wanted to join, but he couldn't because he have his son's 18-year-old birthday today. So
well, that's important. I can understand that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to miss that for sure. Yeah, no, this definitely is all over the world. And what's nice about what we're doing too, Trong, is that once we're done, this will continue to live on. Anybody can access it on YouTube. So they're not restricted to a Zoom link or anything like that. It is up and posted. All right, we ready to bash in and get this thing going?
Not the scary part. It lasts forever.
Yeah, you can't get rid of it now. All right, I got my grain crushed. We got it in a bag.
Okay,
Christy,
now I done my thing. I done my thing in my grain bag.
Yep.
Hope I don't make a mess here, but that's this is an all grain recipe, so it's kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
So here, I got my grain in there, and so it's going to be somewhat of a longer session because it's an all grain, right?
It is, yeah, and it's it's like a 90-minute mash and a 90-minute boil, so it is going to be a little bit longer than is probably necessary. But I do enjoy brewing, and the multi-step mash for a traditional German-style beer. I was kind of telling the group, it's not as necessary nowadays with our highly modified malts. You don't need to go through a protein rest necessarily, but there are some purists that say it does add some complexity of flavor and some depth of flavor by going that route. I hadn't really haven't pushed the Pot-Au-Brew, at least on live, with a multi-step mash, so I figured that would be a good thing for us to give it a go today.
I can tell you, we can do anything with the Pot-Au-Brew.
Oh yeah.
Versatile, and we can talk about that. It's really exciting. I actually brew a Mr. Beer Stout on a Pot-Au-Brew and a pinter at the same time. So.
Oh, you got your hands on the pinter. Okay.
Yeah. So because I just want to see, and then I want to do. I want to do a Gulu recipe on the Pot-Au-Brew too, because the Pot-Au-Brew can brew anything.
Yes.
You already showed that you can make kombucha out of it, and I already have some idea how to do that. We can talk about the improvement and nice tools to do that. But I got really good. After I watched a video, I got some idea how to do that because it wasn't how I have been doing my kombucha. But your thing helped me see things slightly different.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm flattered. That's awesome, Trong. Thank you for saying that. That's fantastic.
I will share that with you. I used to be in the kombucha business. I mean, I used to own a chain of bakeries, so part of it is I make kombucha and sell kombucha, and my kombuchas always sell really well and really, really tasty because I make kombucha with the syrup style. You know, if you know syrup, it's kind of like an Egyptian fermented vinegary kind of thing, but very fruit forward. And I use kombucha, which kind of, in some way, to me, it kind of bland and not that fun to drink. So I add a lot of fruits to it. And also, the two things I did, my kombucha really, really, you know, go over really well is carbonation and fruit forward.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to get a timer started here real quick. Trong, did you get a chance to test out this recipe and brew it before we did it today?
No, I actually I didn't. I did not.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I was saying, I did.
It works okay?
It came out fantastic. So I'm going to have a little bit of that while we're mashing here. So I was going to invite you to, if you had done it earlier and have some of it on camera with me, but I guess I'm just.
No, I can have my porter. You know, the shoot porter that we brew a while ago. I brew it again. I like it so much. I actually brew it along with the shoot black root porter.
It is it's definitely a good one, yeah.
You know, one thing that I want to tell people is, since we brew with the Pot-Au-Brew and we serve directly from the Pot-Au-Brew with the picnic tap, it's really easy. And I tell people that use smaller glass to drink your beer, because you want to drink and then just pour some more because you want your beer cold and carbonated. So
yes.
That I tell all my guests that, you know, I hand out smaller glasses and you come back and refill. So we like to drink beer like we drink champagne, you know, like.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, there we go. Got my camera going. Okay.
So this is usually how I pour my beer, right?
Audio's good.
I was actually going to ask. I've asked the chat, but
so real quick, Trong, sorry, we were having your audio. I think was a little low. We've adjusted it, so we're just confirming with chat that they can hear you okay.
Yeah, please let me know if the audio is back or better.
Yeah, I like brewing on the induction burner. It really gives you nice control the temperature. Yes. If I do it on the stove, I tend to forget it, and then it just runs away, and then I'm overdoing it. So this is nice to have nice controlled heat, and it's very portable.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is because I'm in my kitchen, I have my oven here, and I already set my oven temperature at 170 degrees. Yep. So I'm going to open this and pop it in the oven, because I think that mashing in the oven is really beautiful in that it doesn't use a lot of energy. When you turn on the oven to 170 degrees, you put it in, you shut the door, it hardly ever have to start again. And then if you're in the total environment, you know, for the temperature, so it's very evenly. And also for sparging or circulating, all I have to do is just every now and then lift my grain back up a little bit, like so.
Yeah.
And drop it back down to just circulate the water through the grain. Or I can also stir it every now and then, and then I can take refractometer reading to see how far how well it's progressing. Yeah. Conversion goes.
Yeah.
So right now I'm gonna pop this in my oven.
And I had done the same thing, Trong, because I think when we streamed last time, we were in I'll call it a studio, but it's the studio. And so we didn't have an oven, but since we're doing it kind of Christy's here, she's got a beautiful kitchen. She's got a beautiful setup here at her place. So I do have the oven fired up. So maybe I will pop it in there just to kind of emulate what you're doing. Normally I just keep it on the induction burner because I can turn it down low, but we'll give the oven a try today. I want to emulate what you're doing, because this is your process and this is your genius. So I'm gonna do that, I think.
You will like it. It's,
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't plan ahead though.
Oh yeah, you need to turn it. It doesn't take long to get up to 160 degrees or so.
Oh yeah, no, it's at temperature. I just I didn't rearrange the racks.
Yeah.
But no, I came with temperature real quick. There we go. Christy, our audio, are we good?
Yeah, chat's saying that it's better. I think it's a little muted, Chong's audio, but it's better.
It
They
is
can hear
better.
it,
I
yeah.
think we could turn it up a little bit more.
Okay.
I think the volume is fine. It just
Okay.
might be a little muffled.
Muffled. Okay. All right.
Oh, my voice, my microphone a little muffled.
We turned it up on our end, so I think it's good now. Oh, I guess we should turn this out. Yeah, good. All right. Got our mash. I got our timer. We're doing our protein rest to start with, so that's rolling. Let's see. While we're waiting for the mash to go, so Trong, we did that video for the recycling of the yeast. I don't know if I know you said you kind of watched it, but I wanted to show the yeast function and kind of
Can
do
you
a.
show which StreamYard can you do screen share? You can show video right now.
We can actually. I think we should be able to. Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to lose audio again, Trong.
Okay.
I don't want to lose audio again, but we can try. Do you want me to see if we can pull that up?
Yeah, we'll see because if we can do screen share, there's a lot of things that we can share with the viewers. Because things that we can do ahead of time, things in the past, we can compact the time from tasks that take some time that we can redo it.
Yep, I'm working on it right now. Sorry.
It's a very useful tool.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have the pink microphone.
Okay.
I feel fancy.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do. Should I grab my glasses? I brought them over. Let's see here.
One person?
All right. So let's see here. Guys, I appreciate your patience as we're learning this here. Let's see here. Well, okay. Well, this might work. We may have to watch ads. It's all in support of the channel. All right, let's do it. Boy, that's fun. All right. Okay. Boy, that's going to be loud. All right, we'll turn that down a bit. Okay, so let me see if we can get this shared here. Let's share this. And that. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you guys can see that okay.
Okay, good. That's look good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can pop it up. We need to go full screen on it, but all right. Well, we appreciate you guys and your patience as we're figuring this out. All right. Actually, real quick before we do that, Trong, it looks like Lance, thank you for joining the chat here. He's asking, is the Pot-Au-Brew going to be a system we can buy?
Yes,
We have 20 units.
We have 20 units right now left that we can ship right away. I have 2 units to go to France, 1 unit to go to Japan. We're gonna go to another customer in the U.S. So we have about 20 units left. But we have more coming. And then of course it's a startup, it takes a lot of capital to do these things, so we only do one step at a time to make sure that everything works before we make more.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So those are in process. Yep. Thank you for the question, Lance. Appreciate that. And I'm sure we'll get some questions on the Pot-Au-Brew too. All right. So I'm going to roll this video if you guys are okay with it. It should be pretty quick, hopefully.
Yeah, only like 8 minutes or so, so that's good.
Benham Brewing's channel. This is your first time here. We do product reviews, tutorials, and we have a live chat feature on our website to help you through your Brew Day 911. So check it out at benhambrewing.com, lower left-hand corner. Hope to talk to you soon. Today's video, I want to cover a topic that seems to have become more and more important to me over the past couple of years, and that has to do with the cost of brewing ingredients, specifically the cost of yeast. Over the past several years, I'm sure you've noticed an increase in the cost of yeast from what used to be $4 for a pack of dry yeast, now approaching $8 or $9, depending on where you buy it. And even liquid yeast has gone way up, which has always been expensive to begin with because it is liquid yeast and they tend to have more varieties, but you're looking to pay $15 to $20 for one of those packs now. One of the things I wanted to cover today was reusing your yeast, because that can be a huge cost savings and it's not as difficult as you think it might be. Let's check it out. Before we get started, quick disclaimer. When you're repitching yeast, you have to make sure that the cold side of your fermentation technique is rock solid. There is no room for error when it comes to sanitation. Every time you're repitching a batch of yeast, you do run the risk of introducing contaminants into your next beer. However, don't stress about it. If your cold side is good and you're making sure to follow some good rules of sanitation, your beer will be fine. Those yeast are going to try to keep out anything that would normally want to grow in your wort. So make sure you've got good cold side processes. So when it comes to reusing yeast, the easiest thing to do is to remove as much liquid from your fermenter as possible and try to leave that trube at the bottom as undisturbed as possible. This is made especially easy if you're using the Float-It 2.0, and if you're not, you should be. Link below to purchase. Highly recommended. It will take your liquid level all the way down to the top of the trube and leave you basically nothing but yeast cake at the bottom. Once you remove most of the liquid off the top of your yeast cake at the bottom, it's as simple as repitching another batch right on top of that yeast cake. Now you can do that for a couple batches. And as an aside, make sure you're doing similar beers. If you're doing an IPA on top of an IPA, that's okay. If you're doing an IPA on top of a porter, probably not a good idea. You're going to get some flavor crossover. There's some yeast washing things you can do. We're not going to cover that in this video. That will be coming. Now, the other instance of reusing your yeast is if you have finished your batch, you bottled it or removed it from the fermenter, but you want to save the yeast because you're not ready to direct pitch on top of it. In that case, you need some way to store your yeast. I recommend using a mason jar. We actually use the Yeast Farmer by Homebrewer LAB. If you haven't seen this yet, this thing is pretty cool. Basically, you can completely steam sanitize your jar by putting a little bit of water in it, putting the lid on it, putting it in the microwave and allowing it to steam. There's a filter at the top. I can't remember how many microns it is, but it is basically a sterile filter that goes both ways. So when you're putting it in the microwave to steam sanitize it, all that steam actually comes out, not only cleans the inside of the jar, but then sanitizes the inside of the filter. When you're done, you take the jar out, just let it cool, and it will suck sterile air back into your jar. Basically, then once it's cooled down, you've removed most of the liquid from your fermenter, you transfer the yeast into the mason jar and screw the lid on top. You can store this in your fridge for a couple of weeks until you're ready to use it. The other benefit with using it is as your yeast is breathing, meaning it may produce some more CO2 or it may suck back some air if the temperature changes, this filter goes both ways, but it only allows sterile air in, protecting your yeast from overpressurization or getting infected. Finally, when you're getting ready to reuse the yeast and repitch it, you may notice that because you put it in the fridge and settled it out, it will settle to the bottom of the jar and you may have some clear liquid on top. Go ahead and pour off that clear liquid very carefully before you pitch into your next batch of beer. Make sure that you keep your reused yeast or your yeast you're planning on repitching with organized. So make sure you label the jar and put the date that you put it in the fridge. That way you know how old it is. Like I mentioned before, it's good for a couple of weeks in the fridge. If you go beyond that, it's still viable. You can certainly use it, but you're going to want to do a yeast starter to build up the viability again and get it ready to pitch. That is actually something that's very easy to do.
Shop Etsy for original items made by real people.
Dry skin, soothed. Or then there's Aquaphor.
So the starter example we're doing today is for a 1.5 gallon batch of beer. So if you're planning on doing larger than that, make sure that you scale it up appropriately. The reason we're doing it for 1.5 gallon batches is because we've been doing a lot of smaller batch brewing over the past couple of months, and this jives nicely with us reusing yeast for those batches. The night before you pull your yeast out of the fridge, go ahead and prep your starter wort. We're going to be prepping this not on the stove in a boil kettle, we're actually doing it in the microwave, which the yeast farmer allows us to do that. You can prep a starter wort in about 4 minutes in the microwave and let it cool down overnight and use it the next day. Let's talk about how that's done. You're going to take 500 milliliters of water into the mason jar, and that should be 3 minutes, about halfway, maybe a little bit more. You really don't want to go more than that because if it boils up, you will clog your sterile filter at the top. To your water, you're going to add 50 grams of dried malt extract and then just a pinch of yeast nutrient. Go ahead and give it a little swirl to help it dissolve, and you're going to put it in your microwave. Before you try to make this in your microwave with wort, I do recommend you try it with water first. Every microwave is a little bit different depending on power and shape, and so you really want to figure out how best to simmer your wort for about 4 minutes and not overboil and have it clog your filter. So what I like to do, what I've figured out works for me, is I do 2 minutes at 100% in the microwave, and then 2 minutes at 30% power, and then 1 minute at 10% power. That brings it to kind of a nice, even simmer without overboiling it. That effectively will sanitize and sterilize everything that's in that jar. Now, the great thing with the yeast farmer, you can either run it under cool water, not cold, you don't want to crack the glass, or just let it sit on the counter overnight. As it cools, your yeast farmer's filter will suck sterile air back inside. And so you can either stick this in the fridge and save it for another time, or use it the next day when you're ready to pitch. It's a great way to make fast yeast starters or wort starters to use anytime. Once you're ready, go ahead and pitch your yeast into your new starter and then swirl it around a couple times a day to kind of keep the yeast in suspension. If you have a stir plate, you can actually use a stir plate with these mason jars. If you are using a stir plate, I recommend a larger stir bar with a strong magnet that will be able to handle the slight dome that's in the bottom of your mason jar. If you're using a stir plate, your starter's done 24 to 48 hours. So I kind of talked about it a little bit before earlier, where you really shouldn't use specific types of repitched yeast. And I gave the example of completely different beer styles. You go to IPA to porter, or porter to IPA, or if you're doing a sour beer into something else, you really don't want to mix those flavors. If you're going dark beer to dark beer, IPA to IPA, lager to lager, that definitely is better without getting into the yeast washing. So it's possible, but we're not covering that in this video. Some other types of repitching that you want to avoid are yeasts that were used for a high ABV beer. I mean, you could technically repitch it into another high ABV beer, but usually after they get done fermenting a very high alcohol beer, they're usually exhausted and stressed and really not good to repitch, even in a lower ABV beer. So if you're doing some big beers, you really only use it once and don't repitch. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video on reusing your yeast. Comment below if you have used this technique before, or if you're familiar with the yeast farmer. If you are interested in more information on the yeast farmer, go ahead and leave a comment below and I can certainly get you more information on it. I'm not sure if they're quite for sale yet on the Homebrewer LAB website, but we can definitely reach out and let you know. And if any of you are interested in the yeast washing, please comment below and let us know, and we'll kind of step up the production on that video to get out a little bit sooner. Catch you later, my friends.
Right.
We're about to hit the end of our timer here, Trong. So,
but that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, to set it up, because we have a lot of time when we brew beer, right? So we can intersperse with some snippet of information, very useful. And I want to
we can do that. Yeah.
I want to first of all have you measured your wort yet? Because I just measured mine. It's at 1050 already.
All right. I am just pulling mine out of the oven because we're up to our next step mash. So we're going to start heating it up again. And we are going to 144. And then I'm going to take a gravity reading.
Yeah, 144. Okay. I'm a bit higher. I'm 146.
Well, I was at 170, so at least it doesn't drop.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm good. All right. Yeah, let me do a grab reading. You said you were at, what was it, 1050?
Yeah, for me, right now, I just measure and
All right,
yeah,
I'm going to take
I did take the sample outside the bag, you know, outside the grain bag.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Chris, if you can go to boil cam real quick. This is something, because I don't do brew in a bag a whole lot, but this was a good tip that Trong showed me last time, is you kind of go to the side of the bag instead of trying to get the grain out of the way. And that's the best place to kind of get the cleanest sample for your refractometer.
You probably should put it on a spoon or something, on a metal spoon for it to cool
the
down
cooling
a
of it.
bit.
No, that's right. I forgot about that.
The automatic temperatures.
Well, this is an ATC, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's able to handle that kind of hot temperature. Let's see what we got here. I have no light. I need sunlight. Oh, you're getting better conversion than me. I think I'm about 1020 maybe.
Really?
But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on a spoon, let it cool, and take another measurement.
Yeah, you put a few drops on a metal spoon and a big metal spoon.
Yep.
A Chinese soup spoon, metal spoon would be perfect.
Christy, where's your collection of Chinese soup spoons?
Yeah. And
Shockingly, I don't have any, but I have chopsticks.
because it can sit flat. You see, it's like a book. You can sit flat. But you can do any spoon.
I know what I'm gonna get you for Christmas now.
There we go.
Some spoons.
For Chinese New Year.
Thank you, JB.
You're welcome.
He's
Always
a-
thinking.
He's a giver, that one. All right, let me let this cool for a second without spilling it. I don't have the fancy spoon. I remember you mentioned that last time about the soup spoon because they lay flat like that. So
Yeah. And
we
you
got
can
lots of
buy-
chopsticks, but no
They're
spoon.
really cheap. That you can buy. I can have like a whole bag of them. You know, I can do like.
Yeah. Well, we got there's a great Asian market store that's near us that is just it's like Disneyland going in there. There's so much cool stuff. All right, this is cooled a bit. I'm going to take a sample, and we'll see if that impacted anything. All right, I think
Use the ring light too, actually, right?
Oh, that's true. That's true. All right, let me take a measurement here. I know sunlight's best, but we're looking at. There we go. Yeah, it's about 1020.
Looks like Jerry's at 1046.
1046. I'm losing. Strong's at 1050. Jerry's at 1040 something.
1046.
1046. I'm at like 1020.
Oh, really? So
I don't know, but what's the ideal number?
So, good question, JB. So, when you're mashing, you're taking the starches that exist in your boil kettle and you're letting the enzymes in there break it down, right? They're chewing it apart. And so, the more they break apart the starch molecules, the more they're turning into fermentable sugars, the sweeter it becomes. So, measuring it, there's no ideal number because it depends on what stage of the mash you're in, and how much grain you put in, and what you want your finish to be. For today's particular batch, we want to be going into the boil kettle. Or out of the mash about 1053. So Trong's going to have like an 18% beer.
Now, so what's your step? Right, what's the step mash? The next temperature will be what?
We're at 144, which we're holding for 30 minutes, and then we're going to go to a normal mash temperature. 156 degrees for about 45 minutes. So that'll be an easy hold at a typical mash temperature.
Yeah.
So that'll give it.
Mine right now is 149. Yeah. So.
Okay. I'm still coming up. Let's add some more heat here. Give it a stir. Jerry, what's your temp at? Are you keeping on pace, or are you doing okay? I feel like I'm lagging behind in everything today. I've been all over the place, and we're barely started.
Okay, I'm gonna start cranking up my temperature because I know it's pretty high, so I know.
Yeah. We'll give that a go. So I thought it was really nice, Trong, that with the launch of your really Pot-Au-Brew kits, like the full everything, which has all the solutions and things that you need, with the launching of that, I love the fact that you now have a Facebook page, a group, specifically dedicated to the Pot-Au-Brew.
Yeah, it started by one of the early adopters, by Jerry. It didn't start it by me. He's so, and then he made you and I administrators.
I know, we're super admins. I don't know if I want that kind of responsibility. But I think it's a good thing that you've got a good community, because it is such a unique brewing style. It's a unique small batch brewing method, and with all the accoutrement that comes with it, I think it's important to have the support group. And I think just building that community is huge. So I was so happy, Jerry. Thank you for starting that group and that Facebook page, because that really helps spread the information and really helps to support what Trong's doing.
One of the reasons that I want, whenever people get the Pot-Au-Brew, I kind of suggest or almost insisting that they have to spend a Zoom session with me,
Yes.
so that I can walk them through the process, how to set it up, and even brew the first batch with me if they like.
Yeah.
Because the way that we do things on the Pot-Au-Brew is very different. Some of it doesn't exist. And a few of these things that I want to talk with you today, and to see how does it work out for you. One of which is the Cenivan. This item here, the Cenivan.
Yeah.
I put it on because of course, one of the fundamental thing about the Pot-Au-Brew is that we use heat to sterilize everything. So
Yes.
because when we boil it, it's also very nice, because if you used to the Pot-Au-Brew the way of using heat to sanitize, and you have to do something that you don't have heat, you really worry because you don't know whether you're gonna have contaminated or not. But the downside of having heat is that when you put the lid on, because this is basically a pressure cooker, so you put the lid on and a lot of boil wood, a lot of steam that's coming up, it's very hard to press the lid down, to squeeze the lid down in order to lock. So I normally have to open up the pressure relief valve to vent the inside of the one. And I have to close it again. So I thought that people may not remember how to do that, and sometimes the thing may be too hot to touch. So I made the Cenivan basically a vent, so that easy to put the lid on to the hot boiling wood, right? And then I decide to leave that Cenivan on the pot for the whole time, because I want to use the heat coming up through the disconnect and the vent to sterilize it. So I put on a syringe filter. It's a little red thing called a syringe filter, and the hold on it is really small. It's only 0.22 micron. It's less than a quarter of a micron. So it's so small that bacteria cannot get through, and it's also pretty inexpensive, because hospitals use it by the millions every day, and this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is called a syringe filter. In the hospital, when the doctor wants to inject you with stuff, they want to make sure that they don't inject bacteria in your body. They put this filter on the syringe and then go to the needle. And this thing you can buy, this is a pack of this for like 25 of these things for about $9.
Oh, they're very inexpensive. Yeah.
They're very expensive and every. So I thought that by putting the syringe filter on the Cenivan and allow the heat to go through to sterilize everything, and the syringe filter is autoclavable, which means that you can heat it up and the steam pressure doesn't hurt it, and that's why they do in the hospital that there's autoclave the syringe filter, and then I leave the syringe filter on for the entire cooling phase, the chilling phase of the wood. The nice thing about that is, when the thing cooling down, at some point it starts sucking air back in when it's cooling down, and the air that goes in is sterile air. So the air goes in, sterile air that oxygenate the wood inside the wood cooling down. So that's this nice thing to have. And the second thing here is when I open the lid to pitch the yeast, I can do that very easily because I don't have to de-vacuum it. Normally, if I didn't have the fan, in order to open it, I have to de-vacuum the pot so that I can unlock it. Now with the Sanivan, I don't have to do that. So it's really nice to slide the lid open and put the yeast in. Now, to extend it further, I said, what happened if I leave the Sanivan on the lid for the next 4 hours to allow air to go in to feed the yeast so that I can make more yeast? This way, I don't have to stir the wood, because normally, before you pitch the yeast, you like to oxygenate the wood by stirring that. And I didn't want to do that because I worried that I would contaminate my wood, infect my wood. So by having the Sanivan, I don't have to do that. And now I leave it on for the next 4 hours just to supply the yeast plenty of oxygen. And then I remove the Sanivan after 4 hours. I wait for about half an hour before I put my spunding barrel on my jellyfish on. The reason is because I didn't want right after I remove the vent that the yeast consume the 20% of the oxygen and create a vacuum and the suck dirty air back into the container. If my jellyfish is not clean, it could infect my wood. So I said, okay, I just let it an hour to go so everything go back to balance before I put my jellyfish on. And the crazy thing is when I did that, after I put my jellyfish on, I set it to at 0 because I want to see how soon the bubble happens. And sometime half an hour later, I see bubble in the thermometer, which means fermentation has started. So now I say, holy cow, is this something real? So I asked some other.
Well, let me ask you, Trong, was that a new pitch of yeast or were you repitching?
It's a new pitch of yeast.
It was a new pitch. Wow, that is fast.
And I usually don't pitch the whole package of 11 gram of yeast. I actually cut it in half or sometimes in third. Expensive yeast. And then, so I asked some other early adopter like Jerry or Grant and Kevin and say, hey man, does this happen to you? How soon the fermentation started after you pitch? And they tell you using the microvan, it usually happens within 5-6 hours. Normally, so I want you to this time when you do this, you check it for me to see how soon you have fermentation start using
I'd be curious to see if it's how fast it is, because I did use it because I tested this multi-step mashing on the system, and the beer came out phenomenal, and I'm loving what I'm having right now. But the Sten event was great because there wasn't this big release of pressure and the lid sucked tight down. Like it was nice to have that pressure already released, and so there's no issue when you put on the jellyfish.
Yeah. So now, normally, how long it take before you have fermentation started after pitching?
So usually,
hours, right?
if I'm doing a dried yeast, not Kvike. If I'm doing a dried yeast that's just your traditional yeast, I mean, it'll take 6 hours, I think, before I start to see a little bit of activities, a little lag time. But I didn't really look at it closely with the SAN event, so I would be curious if that does in fact speed up because it's not, under pressure. We're getting there.
Because when you brew beer, after you pitch the yeast, you really want to see anything happening. You look for the bubble. You want
as soon as possible.
To see, and whenever sometimes 24 hours, nothing happened. You say, oh my God, did I do it right? My yeast good, or I killed the yeast, or whatever. So you really get excited when you see bubble. The first bubble, even 1, 2, 3 bubbles, they make you really excited. But now I can have fermentation started in 4, 5, 6 hours. I mean, that is remarkable. Typically, it takes me a minimum of 12 hours. That is with Kvik yeast at high temperature. Kvik yeast at like 80, 90, yes. But regular yeast at 75 degrees, man, sometimes take 25, even more than a day to see activity.
Sometimes,
so I want you to check that to see, to verify that is the fact or not.
Okay.
That is the reality.
Yeah, I'll test it. I'll test it with this batch. Now, one of the variables though is that I'm not putting a fresh pack of yeast in this batch.
It doesn't matter.
I'm repitching from the last batch that I saved using your yeast farmers. So this yeast is already ready to go. So I expect it to start very, very quickly, unlike a dried yeast pack. So
yes, but you don't have to
not
put
quite
a
same
lot there.
Really
Anyway.
quick, we do have a question from Jerry.
Oh.
So Trong, do you stir the mash in the oven at all?
Yeah, I'm mashing right now in the oven, and I just.
Do you stir it?
Yeah, I stir it up on the lid. I stir it up and lift the back up, like a few inches. Wait a few, like 15 seconds, and drop it back down. The idea is to get the liquid drain out of the grain and then go back and recirculate. It's just a cheap and cheap way of circulating
the mash and get those enzymes redistributed throughout to make sure they're being as efficient as possible. Yes.
Yes. So okay, let me do my reading. Remember last time at 10:50 and see what
Yeah.
I see right now. Okay.
Spoon. Let this sit for a minute or two. I'm just gonna set this kind of on the cold counter, let that cool it off a little bit.
I don't have my stainless steel Chinese spoon around, so I use this ceramic here. So it's this, and
It's starting to smell really good.
let's sit and see. Now you
All right.
can.
Let's see what we got. Who else was doing the reading for this, Christy, in chat?
Jerry.
Jerry was doing it with us. Okay. I'll be curious to see. Jerry, if you can take a reading and let us know where you're at. I'm sure I'm still in dead last here.
Well,
And then get over to Christy's vanity light.
Hey, I am 1061.
Nice. I'm hitting 1043.
Okay, so you.
It's coming up.
So what
And
do
it's
you
all
expect-
because of a spoon.
What do you expect it to be? What do you? What do you?
Right now, I don't honestly when in the middle of a mash, I don't have set goals set for it because each mash seems to be a little different. So as long as I'm hitting the right gravity going into the boil kettle, that's really all I care about. And the mash is progressing. As long as I'm seeing progress along it, it's that's not a bad thing. And I wonder too. Sorry, go ahead, Trump.
Yeah, one of the things is toward the end of the mash, we have to heat up another volume of water about 150 degrees to rinse the grain. Because,
Yes.
With this much grain, you're going to get a lot of sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I got my sparge water all heated up. Jerry, to get your sparge water going, if you got a second pot, make sure you're heating that up so it's ready to go. There's no rush. We have lots of time today. So, but just make sure you got another pot available and you got your water all ready to go. I'm going to get a little bit more here. Yeah, I think you're going to like this beer, Trong and Jerry. It's a really has a good malt backbone, but it's got some great roastiness character to it. And I think it finishes about 9 ABV. I'll have to look at the stats on it, but I guess it's more of a winter beer because of the dark color and because of the alcohol. But I get tired, and sometimes I just need a dark beer in the summertime. I don't know why that is. I probably get tired of IPAs, and that's Christy's fault, pointing at her, because she loves IPAs. So typically when we're doing our shoot days and things, that's what we're drinking. So I think maybe that's why I like to break the monotony with a nice dark beer, a stout, a porter, a Doppelbock, a German, classic German styles. I love it so much.
I saw you got 2 ounces of chocolate malt in there. So
Yes.
And that's why they give it the beer that you're drinking right now?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
dark,
Yeah. No, it's here, Chris, if you can throw back on the boil cam. It has I made a mistake. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's dark. It's pretty clear. It's a little low in carbonation. And that's my fault because I was serving from the Pot-Au-Brew, and I left the tap on
Oh,
the Pot-Au-Brew, and I didn't close it all the way, and ended up
you didn't
leaking
have
out.
it
So
until it clicked. Yeah,
I
you didn't-
lost so much beer, and so when I went to bottle it, I only had like 2 bottles left, and they weren't quite full of fills. So the carbonation, unfortunately, in this is low, but the flavor is fantastic. It's nice and rich, nice and malty. It's got a good roasty backbone to it that really holds its own.
Okay, now I want to go back on the yeast farmer.
Do we have a okay? Oh, sorry, Trong. Hang on 1 second. Do we have a something from chat, Christy?
Yeah, so it looks like Jerry is at 1085.
1085. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he might win.
Can go that high? You think our yeast can make it in there?
Well, they could do a 10. Oh, sure. He's not, 1185. Then I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah.
Then that'd be more of you need to turn that into like an ethanol gasoline type situation. But 1085, I think, is boy, he's getting some good conversion there. Holy cow! Yeah, because we really should be closer to 10. What did I say? Out of the mash, 1056. No, that's temperature.
My
1053. 1053 pre-boil gravity.
Oh, really? That's
But
your
we're gonna rinse. We got rinse water coming, so that'll help kind of dilute it down. So yeah, no, he's probably
that's
on
right.
track. I'm lagging behind.
That's true. We're gonna have to rinse, so they're gonna bring the.
That'll dilute it down. So
down a bit. Yeah.
Jerry's on track. All right. So
So-
you want to talk about the yeast farmer, Tron?
Yeah, the yeast farmer. One of the key reasons that can make it work, because you know that in America, in most modern society, the microwave is very popular. Almost every house is a microwave. Another part very popular in most households in modern society is mason jars, because they're very useful. They can use. They're loved by billions of people around the world. But you never see people talk about mason jar and microwave in one sentence. They usually don't go together. The reason is because the mason jar have the metal lid. So you cannot do anything covered with the metal lid in a mason jar, because of course metal is not good in microwave. Until I found a company that in the US that made a good plastic nylon mason jar lid, and so I found it, I got it, and then it also happened to have the top of the lid is thin enough for my green valve. This is the valve that I invented and had a file patent many years ago, and I call it the mother of all valves. The reason it's the mother of all valve because the valve can do anything you want a valve to do. I mean, it's a bidirectional valve. I mean, the gas can go out and gas can go in, depending on you can set it, and it's very small. So, meaning that you can put this valve on a sealed container, a non-metal container, and with water you can stick in the microwave and you nuke it, and the pressure buildup will be cell release over 3 psi, so you don't blow up your container. And then when you take it out, the microwave, when it cool down, it doesn't suck the lid back down to the point that you cannot open, because the valve allow when the vacuum so high that it allow air to go in, so you can de-vacuum it. It's cell de-vacuuming so that you open. So that's why I could use the lid for the purpose of sterilizing wood to grow to grow yeast. Now, coupled with the fact that I can put on the syringe filter, so I can supply my yeast with clean, sterile air, like so. Like you can put this on like this, and now this is easy to grow yeast because to me anyway, the more challenging part of growing yeast is sanitation. Make sure you have a clean container. Normally you have to boil the water, you put a container, and when you put the yeast in after you inoculate your wood with the yeast, you have to stir it, provide oxygen, and you make sure that you do it in a way that thing doesn't get infected. And if you put cotton ball on top of your Erlenmeyer flask, or you put a aluminum wrapper on it, and it work well at the time, but you happen to hear ants around, and they will crawl up the thing and they go under the aluminum foil and get in there because they love that sugar. And you have gnats and all the things, they're gonna work their way in. So, but you cannot seal it because you have to supply it with air. Now with the mason jar that you can sterilize in a microwave oven quickly and easily, and when you sterilize that, you can sterilize the syringe filter as well. And then when you pitch your yeast, you stir it, and then the yeast can suck more oxygen, more air back inside to grow more yeast, and make it very nice and dandy. Now another benefit is once all the yeast is done, you can put it in the refrigerator like this. You don't have to burp it because it's self-venting, right? You put it in, and then you can leave I have leave a jar of yeast like this in the refrigerator for a year, and nothing grow inside it. And nothing grow inside it. I don't know whether the yeast still good, but I
was gonna say maybe if you did a step-up starter, you could probably rebuild it. But I mean,
the thing is, I didn't see anything grow on it, any contamination, any crazy thing floating inside. After 1 year, to me, it's kind of remarkable thing. I didn't use that yeast, but I just leave it there to see when I begin to see crazy thing, like all the things floating inside or not. But it just shows that the whole system sealed really well, and the syringe filter really works.
It is such a great idea, and especially for doing quick wort starters before you even use them. Because I want to talk about that a little bit. I think, Christy, did we have a couple of comments from the chat you want to?
Yes, we do. Let me go ahead. The first question is from Jerry. What are the prices on the yeast farmer?
Oh, $15. $15 with the lid. With the lid come with it, and it come with 2 syringe filter. So speaking of that, Trong, I did want to mention today. So the video we did that we talked about the yeast farmer lid yesterday, we had a number of comments because I asked them to comment below, like if you're interested, you want more information and things like that. We have a number of people saying, how do I buy this thing? Where is it posted? They look, they don't see it posted. So that's something that we need to get the information out there as far as where they can get it from, who they need to talk to, if they need to email you directly, if you're going to put it on Amazon or eBay or your web store. Like, do you have a... you see, if you notice that I'm really good at making things. I'm not good at selling things, I'm really make good things. And why they're good? Because I make these things for me. You see, I don't make it to sell. So I make them to me, and it works well for me. When it works for me, then I offer to other people. and it has to be perfect. Like, to me, this farmer lid is perfect. You see what I use it for? It's a sponge nuker.
Yes. No, I've seen the sponge nuker. Yes.
It's so wonderful. When you're not growing yeast, you put it in a pie-sized mason jar, and every day you wash it. You wash dishes. You fill it with a little handful of water. You put some soap in it. You add a soaping solution to save soap when you wash your dishes. And after you're done, you pour the thing out. You rinse the sponge, and you put it back in, and you put it in the microwave for 1 minute. Your sponge will sterilize. It never smells.
Oh no, I would imagine not. Hey, Christy, I'm sorry. Do we have another comment from the chat?
Yes, we do. We have a question from Christopher. Is the recipe living somewhere?
The recipe for today. It is not living anywhere yet. We will definitely post it. Oh, no, actually, let me back that up. The recipe's in the description of this live stream. It is there. I don't know if I put the mash schedule. But I can certainly add that. We've been talking about maybe adding some of those recipes to our website, benhambrewing.com. So if you want to come in after a stream and get the recipe, we'll have it there. Are you currently a Pot-Au-Brew user, or you're just intrigued by the recipe? I have to ask if you're able to respond back. It was Chris, right? Yeah.
Now,
okay.
let me ask you this: Can you come up with a extract version of this all grain recipe?
Oh, for sure, easily.
I mean,
yes.
That would be.
Definitely.
I think it's a compromise, but you save a lot of time, and of course, with a Pot-Au-Brew and extract on partial grain, it is a cinch to do. You can do.
Oh yeah. When you're doing extract like that, yeah, oh absolutely. And I was kind of mentioning this to you, Trong, a little bit yesterday. Doing these live streams and things, and you want to do Zoom calls with your new buyers of the Pot-Au-Brew system. Maybe some of these live streams, we kind of simplify the recipe down to a little more extract for some of these for the new users of the system, and they can brew with us and ask questions. And I don't know if you have any interest or if you still prefer to do the Zoom thing.
No, I love to have the brew along party that people can brew with us now, and especially when new people that having new Pot-Au-Brewers, they need to brew along so that to learn a few things, because that's kind of different. Then these things are new, doesn't exist anywhere else, and the way we do things are very different. For example, our post is like universal. It can take liquid and gas, right? And so you cannot make a mistake putting the wrong disconnect on the wrong post. But you may put the post on the wrong thing, like a gas or the beer. So the way I arrange the Pot-Au-Brew is that I use the position of the post for people to identify.
Yeah.
The gas is by itself on one side, and the liquids is on the other side next to the thermometer. So
yes.
you cannot miss it. It's difficult to miss. Secondly, the poppet valve in the post are actually integrated, so it won't fall out.
Yeah.
Because I hate it when sometimes I try to clean this thing and the whole thing fall out, and I'm stuck. It's a showstopper. So I make the poppet valve stuck, stay inside. But there's a problem. If you make it stuck inside, how do you clean it? So I have to make a special. I make a special cap so that you can, I make this special cap. I don't know if you see this to go on the soda bottle, and and instead of having the post up here, it have the nipple. So which means that you can put your post on, right, like so. You screw it on, and everything I do is a hand tie. You don't need tool for the Pot-Au-Brew. And then you want to clean. Now, if you want to clean, you just like you should sanitize your picnic tap too. And because this is can take liquid and gas, notice I put the liquid things on here, right? So now to drain it, all I have to do is turn this upside down, open this, and squeeze it.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do this about a few times, and then open it and turn it upside down. Open this and let the liquid turn back in. Now I just flush, clean, and sanitize both. Disconnect the tap and the post. So now I can remove it and put it back on my Pot-Au-Brew. So very, very convenient, right? And I need to explain that to people how these things work, and I just tied it, and that's how I sanitize and flush it and make it cleaning up afterwards. Is really, really easy.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, Chris, did we get another comment in the chat? I think Chris has been really active with us today, and appreciate him joining into the chat and things. Did he have a question or a comment for us?
Yeah, actually, it was a really nice comment. He said Trong's approach is very methodical and logical approach to brewing. Only use what you need and do it efficiently, and we couldn't agree more.
Oh, well, that's very nice. Thank you. Is it Chris or Christopher?
It's Christopher.
Christopher, thank you for commenting and joining us on the chat today, and join us for the brew. Hopefully, you're either enjoying a beer or maybe you're brewing something along with us. But yeah, no, Trong's approach is I would call it over-engineered minimalist. So it's only what you need. Like there's no fluff, there's no extraneous anything, but what there is over-engineered and will last you forever. Like it is. I don't mean this in a bad way, Trong, but it's ridiculous. But it is really fun, and it's such a nice time.
I like the idea. I like the idea. I'm cheap, right? I'm a hippie, so.
What do you call it? Ho Chi Minh technology? Is that what you
trail technology?
Yes.
Yeah. Get a lot of things done with bamboo and bicycles. That's what our model is, and I want things last a long time. Like for example, when you buy the Pot-Au-Brew, it's designed for that. You can brew in a submarine, meaning that you cannot go to the store when you're inside a submarine, right? Whenever you own a box, you have to brew with that, and so it comes with everything. You see, it even. One of the things I'm really proud of is how do I send people a sanitized spray bottle with liquid inside, because they're gonna. And they said, oh, I just put the powder one in the spray bottle, and then I send it to them. All I have to do is just add water and check it, and they can spray it. So it's a simple thing, but I'm really, really excited by just coming up with that simple idea. And I even come up with everything. You receive one of the Pot-Au-Brew, right? You open it up, you have everything. You have the CO2 injector, and you have the cartridges, and you have another thing that I really, most of my people like is the hop sock. Have you used the hop sock at all?
You know what I did for the first brew, and you know what, I was kicking myself. I was trying to take some really cool shots of all the equipment that comes with the Pot-Au-Brew, but I wanted to brew on it first, and everything else is like stainless, so it cleans up really nice. Well, the hop sock, because I brewed in it, now it's got the hop tinge to it, and I'm like, well, I can't. It's got some mileage on it now, but this thing is invincible. The hop sock is fantastic, and I tried out your new, I don't know what you called it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Into the pot. And for you guys that are joining us that haven't seen this yet, you will see how this thing works as we get to the boil. The thing is amazing.
It's so much easier to use than stainless steel mesh, because to clean the sensor take longer. You cannot really. This thing you can just squeeze it and wash it like wash, and it takes just a minute. And then I make it stiff enough so you put it upside down and stand up so it can air dry quickly. You don't have to hack it anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's cool too, and we'll talk about this when we get to the boil. But I have to say, it's so well designed. I feel like I'm yelling now, so Chad, I apologize if I blew your ears out. We did, I think, adjust Trong's audio a little bit. I will try to calm my excitement. Chris, if you could throw on the boil cam real quick. So what's cool about the hop sock too is that not only does it have like a stainless hoop that supports it in the pot, but there's a zipper on here, so the whole thing comes off, and you can wash it and dump it, and then when you're done, you zip it back on. Like, it's just, again, over-engineered simplicity.
I love it. So I'm actually amused by some of these the nifty cooling, thing that we get things done simply. Yeah.
Right. All right. So we're looking at we got 5 more minutes, a little more than 5.5 minutes left before our final mash step, where we're going to jump up to 156. We'll hold that for 45.
I just wanted to share another comment by Christopher. A friend of mine actually told me about Pot-Au-Brew and literally said Trong was a genius. And again, couldn't agree more.
If you want to hear a little bit more about Trong's story, and his story is fascinating. He was kind enough to sit with us on our podcast. Gosh, it was about a year ago or so, I think. Which reminds me, Trong, we have to have you back on. We've got to get that scheduled. But he was with us about a year ago, and we got to hear his story of the genesis of what he used to do, and making croissants and inventing brewing gear. And the whole story is fascinating. So if you want to learn more about Trong, check out our podcast, the Hot Break Craft Beer Cast. It might be episode 8 or 9, I think. But it's titled Trong from Homebrewer LAB. Check it out. It is definitely an entertaining ride. But we appreciate having you on, Trong. Definitely.
I think I really want to see people brew more because
Yes.
the homebrew the homebrew hobby in the U.S. is kind of petering out. The fact that it's just there's so many microbrewery around and it's so complicated. It takes so much time, and I can understand that people don't want to brew like 2 gallons of beer if it takes you all day. You know, if you take all day, you better brew 10, 15, 20 gallons. But
Oh, yeah.
We don't take all day. We take an hour.
Yeah.
An hour we can brew 2 gallons of beer. We
Well,
can bring.
Not today. I made it
Not
over.
today, right?
But-
Well, I'm talking
But normally, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, normally the extract. No,
Hour in
Jerry told me exactly one thing. It took him 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, low water usage, very quick. You ferment and serve in the same vessel. It carbonates mostly on its own, and then you just need to get a little boost if you need to serve it. Like it's such a well thought out system, and
And clean up. Actually, Jerry remind me that one of the best features of the Pot-Au-Brew is so easy to clean. And we should, first of all, you take the whole lid off, you put it in the sink, you clean it, and you don't have to worry about sanitize because you're gonna heat up, you're gonna kill everything when you boil. So,
yeah. Yeah.
so you just wanna make sure all the stuff off the metal and then.
Yeah. Christy, we have another question from chat or a comment from chat?
Oh, we do. So the question is from Christopher, can you pressure ferment in the Pot-Au-Brew? And if so, what would you suggest for PSI 2 to 4?
You know, the pressure,
That is an excellent question, yeah.
I have tested the pressure in the Pot-Au-Brew is it can go up to 25 psi, and when you go more than 25 psi, it's actually leak gas through the seal. So it have its own safety relief valve, but it also have a safety relief valve. The safety relief valve that I have on it is set at 27 degrees, 27 psi, and
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the PRV itself, and so that releases it at 25
yeah, 27 psi.
or 27, but the lid
But the
itself.
seal, when they go about 30 psi, actually the gas leak from the seal. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the whole lid is a
Yeah.
safety relief valve. Yeah.
So back to Christopher's question, he asked, can you? I feel like I'm yelling. Am I yelling, Christopher?
I
good.
can't.
Okay.
It sounds fine to
Maybe
me.
I turn my ears up too loud. So again, I apologize for blasting people. So Christopher asked, can you pressure ferment in it? And the answer is yes. And
Yes.
it's really designed for pressure
For-
fermentation because then you need, and if you're familiar with pressure fermentation, you need less climate control, you need less fermentation temperature control because you're putting it under pressure, which suppresses the yeast esters so they don't overproduce. So absolutely. The spunding valve, and if you've done pressure fermentation, and Chris, let me know if you've pressure fermented before, if you're familiar with it, because I don't want to throw knowledge at you that you've already got. Spunding valve, you've probably never seen a spunding valve like this before. This is Trong's latest innovation that goes on the Pot-Au-Brew to allow you to dial in pressure, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's a digital spunding valve, but I got to be honest, it's about as close as you can get to a digital because it has colored bands that let you know how tense how tight the spring is,
Yeah.
to ballpark, and you can fine tune it with the analog dial. I mean, it's
And the thermometer, you need that, the thermometer, otherwise you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
No, the thermometer. The
thermometer. I'm sorry, I thought you
This
thermometer.
is thermometer, fermentation monitor.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is essential. You cannot brew without the thermometer because you don't know where your pressure is going up or going down. You know, unless you see it happening inside the bubbling. So
It's,
you can dial it precisely. Yeah.
Well, and I like your new version of the Spundit because it has the clear housing now.
Yeah.
With your earlier version, they were a little bigger, a little heavier, rock solid. Like I have one. It's going to last forever. This one's nice because it has clear housing. You can tell when it's time to clean it or if something got stuck in there. All right, Trong, I just had a timer go off. I think we are ready to ramp up to the next.
Now have you ever taken it apart and cleaned it?
Which one?
The jellyfish.
Not yet. No, I haven't clogged it. I haven't had any.
No, you should try it. The text is so fast. Everything come apart. Everything come apart. You know, and that's why we call it jellyfish, because it looked like a jellyfish. It's clear.
No one can say that you don't have creative names for things. Between the floated, the jellyfish, the spundit, the cheap and cheer, I mean, you name it. You've got names for everything.
Just to let everyone know, Jerry is at 1083 right now.
God, he's killing us.
Cow. But we're gonna dilute it, Jerry. Don't get too excited. We're gonna.
Can we kick him from the stream? He's showing us up. He's like, my beer's done and carbonated, and I'm drinking. Nice job, Jerry. I appreciate you joining the stream today. Hopefully everything's coming through okay and the audio's all right. This is definitely this is fun. I know we don't do these very often. We're trying to get them like once a month, especially kind of going forward. You know, with the new system, it's educating people. If someone gets a system, they can join us on one of these stream days. And as Trong mentioned before, like your first brew day, he does over Zoom with you because he wants you to understand the process, which it's so different than normal brewing, but really makes sense. So I understand why the one-on-one brew time. So this is fun. And this recipe, guys, if you haven't had it, this is a killer recipe. It is absolutely delicious. I'm so irritated with myself that I spilled 3/4 of the batch. It leaked out.
I got to try a little bit of it. It's really good.
It's nice.
That is a bummer.
It's nice. I know. All right, I'm going to grab the reading. Oh, Jerry, I'm chasing you down. I'm at 1075.
Yeah, I'm
coming for you.
Come up with an extract, a partial grain recipe for this, so that I can brew more.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely think we should do that. You know, and that's actually not a bad idea. And chat, if you guys have any thoughts, let me know on this. Should we post an extract and an all grain version of the recipe for the stream? So those that want to do the extract version with us, they can. Granted, they'll be finished much sooner, but they can still have access to the recipe. And if they have questions about the Pot-Au-Brew, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. If that's going to be beneficial, that would make things more interesting for those of you that are tuning in and watching us.
Say thank you, Jerry. He said, yes, it's fun, and the system makes it fun and easy. Yeah. I agree, actually. I feel like it's actually given me hope that I can brew. You know, well, no, I mean, seriously.
You can brew, Christy.
Like, I can actually do this. So
Trong just lost his mind, Christy. Well, she's so used to seeing me brew. And that was actually, it's been a while since I brewed on that main system, but I have a full gas, 15-gallon, all grain system that I hand built, welded, programmed, electrical, PID, like the works. And I love brewing on that thing. But sometimes it was nice to just do a simple extract batch. And now that, you know, Trong has introduced us to the Pot-Au-Brew, I still have full control over the beer, but I don't need to be out in the garage when it's 115 out in the summer. I don't have to invest in a lot of ingredients.
It brew really good beer. It
Yeah.
really good beer because it's controlled. It controls the sanitation, temperature, oxygen, pressure, and light. And the 5 most important things. It's up to you now. Just come up with the right recipe and the right technique. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if it doesn't come out, it's my fault.
Yeah. Look at Jerry. You know, he can vouch to this. He's been brewing all sort of things, and I saw it on the Facebook page. He starts selling all his stuff. Jerry? Are you selling all your things?
I saw that post, Jerry. Is that true? Are you selling all your traditional homebrew stuff, and you're just brewing on the Pot-Au-Brew? I mean, that's amazing.
Also, Jerry said yes for the good idea on the extract and the all grain recipe, and Christopher said the spunding valve is awesome.
Do you have the spunding valve, Christopher, or just from what you've seen, it's awesome? I should have brought my original, my OG, so I could.
You know, everything that I make, you buy, it lasts forever because all the parts are replaceable. I make everything like I build a bicycle. All you need is to change the tire, the wheel, unless it's run over by a truck. You know, You can always fix it. Like that Pot-Au-Brew that you have right there, you can give it to your grandkid because it will never die. You know,
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, no, I believe that. I mean, if your Pot-Au-Brew gets run over by a truck, you're brewing in the wrong place. Get out of the road. All right. Well, I'm catching up. Trong, have you taken a reading recently?
Yeah, mine is 1.556 or something.
1056. Okay.
I
Okay.
think mine kind of petering out almost, you know.
Okay. Well, Jerry definitely's got us beat so far. Not that it's a competition. It's not a competition, but I'm coming for you, Jerry.
But I didn't get it. He got 180 something, 1080 something.
1084, yeah. He's got a rocket in his kettle.
Speaking of Jerry, he said that commenting on getting rid of all of his equipment, he said, this is my future. I have access to larger systems, but I say no need. I can brew more and faster now.
Very nice. Great comment, Jerry. Thank you. That's outstanding. Yeah, I'm trying to get my feet up here. There we go. And again, the mash schedule I picked for today is probably way overcomplicated, but I like doing traditional German mash steps. They're kind of purists, and it's kind of fun. I figured it would give us some good time to talk about stuff.
Okay, I'm going to start heating up my my sparge water, my rinse water. Yeah.
Yes, good call, Trong. I'm going to check on mine. I've been heating mine. And I'm at about 167. So, yeah, I'm pretty much there. Love your stove, Christy. That thing is awesome.
I love doing this in my apartment because it smells amazing. So
It does smell
we can
good.
brew here every week if it's
Right.
right.
Oh, yeah. Well, and air conditioning. I mean, it's still, the weather's starting to cool off now finally. We're in Arizona. Trong is more in California. I think it was only 105 today. So it was way nice. Yesterday was 110. I think Wednesday was like 115. Like we're supposed to be coming down out of the heat. And
In
it's just,
September, like
it's hard to brew outside when it's
Yeah.
115 out. And especially on my system with the open flames and the steam. Like, oh.
Now, so you guys been like over 100 for 100 days? I heard on the news.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, usually once it gets above 110, it just hurts when you walk outside, and so you don't really notice.
So
You know.
the plant, the trees, all that do okay? You have to give them a lot of water.
Well, depends on the plants. I got some low water desert plants, and they do really well in the heat. They don't require a lot of water, so it's not really a huge issue. My garden has actually exploded this summer. I made the mistake of planting one sweet potato. I got it from the store and it started to bud, and I threw it in the garden. And that thing has taken over. It's eating up the heat. I don't know what's going to happen. It's like the what's that movie with the plant that sings and eats people?
Oh, yeah.
Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Little Shop. No.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Is it?
Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. Thank you. I was going to say I got to phone JB because he would know my movie lines. He's my boy when it comes to movies. No offense, Christy. Or Win.
None taken.
I'm okay either way. It's fine.
Now, let me ask you this: how come the reason we boil so long because we want to develop flavor and get rid?
It's actually because we're using a Pilsner malt. So the Pilsner malt, they have precursors for DMS or cooked corn flavor. They're very volatile. You want to boil those off so those don't end up in the finished beer. So that's why we're not doing a 60-minute boil. We're doing a 90-minute boil.
But we only have 2 gallons though, so we can boil those things out pretty fast. There's only so much you can.
That's a good point. I mean, I think obviously for 60 minutes you want to do for hop bitterness. But there's really, I don't know of a way to measure DMS. So I got to be honest, Strong. I was just going by my traditional 10, 15 gallon to a 90-minute boil. I wonder if it does boil off faster in a smaller capacity. But when you look at the pro brewers and they're boiling, barrels and barrels, but they don't brew longer than 90 minutes. to boil off a DMS, do they?
Well, maybe as soon up there's a plateau how they have to get to, but I think if you have a smaller DMS inside, this is technology. Let's say you're boiling thing in like a cup of water, and then you get rid of all the DMS pretty quick.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. Are you going to be inventing a DMS detector here pretty soon?
No, we have it. We have it on our tongue.
That you know what? That might be an interesting video. We could do a boil time, fermentation time for a small batch, and say, here's 60 minutes, here's 90 minutes. When is DMS detectable in the finished beer? We actually tried to do it was a Pilsner beer extract with a Pilsner extract, but it was a no boil. It was kind of like a raw ale. Bad idea. A lot of cooked corn. It was not pleasant. So DMS.
If you look on Brewlosophy, they probably have done that.
I bet they have.
They've done some experiments on that.
They experiment on everything. I'm gonna get a little more beer here. I think I have a little bit left of my Doppelbock.
It looks like Christopher said that he's made a brewing spreadsheet. If anyone is interested, it auto-calculates volumes and temps.
Oh, volumes and temps for striking or mashing, or is it what is it calculating specifically? I'd be interested in that. Give him a minute to come back.
Yeah, he said he normally brews in the basement and used to have a vent fan, but ended up building a boil condenser.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of my customers in Europe, they have to do that because they're in cold weather and they have a small dwelling, so they have to have a condenser and have a vent out because otherwise.
They got to move that moist air away. Hey, Christopher, if you don't mind me asking too, and you certainly don't have to answer, I'm curious where you're tuning in from your basement. While Chris is doing that, it's actually interesting. I was looking at some of our stats from our channel, from the Benham channel and stuff, to see where our users are tuning in from, and I'm waiting to see our Thailand market take off, because you've mentioned Thailand is popular with Pot-Au-Brew, but Australia actually is our second most popular region. We get a lot of U.S. viewers, and then a lot of people in Australia. And I know in Australia they do a lot of no-chill boils, no chill cooling.
Hey, I ain't no chill, man. We was actually no chill.
No chill.
We don't run any chill or anything through it. We let nature does the thing.
That's what I mean. They come up with all sorts of creative ways to minimize water usage and wastage. And I'd want to see more of them tune in to see this kind of stuff, because I think this would be beneficial, especially in Australia, where they are very much trying to conserve water and save resources.
Now, if you want to be the real no chill, let's say that you finish your boiling, your process, your hopping, your boil, and you cannot. You don't have time to chill it down, to brew the pitch right away, because you have to go on a business trip or something to come back a week later. All you have to do is put the lid on, seal it, put the Centivan on so that you can put the lid on easily, then remove the Centivan and seal it, and just stash it away. A week later, you come back, you put the Centivan on to de-vacuum it, open up, and pit the yeast, and that'd be perfectly fine, because of the heat, the Pot-Au-Brew with the wood inside, it kind of like a can of tuna. Nothing can grow inside. Not enough oxygen, because the steam push all the air out. Everything. So when you seal it, a vacuum build up. That's a true no chill. Now, if you don't have time, you can pitch a day or two later. Now, if you are in a hurry, like sometimes I do, I just put it in my swimming pool, and 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, it's done. I can pitch.
I have seen the pictures of your flotilla of fermenters in your pool. And
Yeah.
and to be fair to your system, Trong, you did say it would seal up like a can of tuna. I can vouch for the fact that when you're done, it does not taste like tuna. That is not an issue. The other thing I do want to mention is you talked about. I'm putting my stuff in the oven here. You talked about once you boil it, you put the lid on it, you seal it, and the steam basically sanitizes, sterilizes everything that's in the kettle.
Yes.
My beer that I brewed, the Doppelbock, when I did my test batch, I actually didn't pitch the yeast for about 3 days.
Yeah. Okay.
I boiled it, did it, I let it chill, and then I didn't touch it for about 3 days, which I felt bad about because normally I pitch pretty quick, but I got busy, I had other things going on, we were shooting other videos, and I got done, and I'm like, well, there's no reason this should not be fine because it's
And it's fine,
still
right? I've
fine.
done it many times. I've
still-
done it.
Yeah.
I tell you what. But before a lot of trick here is that many microbreweries, when they brew beer, they waste a lot of wood because they have to fill after the brew in a big tank, right? Big like 200-300 gallon, and they transfer them to the fermenter.
Yeah.
And there's some left, some like a 10-20 gallon thing, and they have to dump it because
Yeah.
they have no place to put in. So I
Right.
go to these guys, I say, I buy these things from you. So I bring them a bunch of cake, like 2-3 gallon cake, and then whatever you can use, you just fill it hot. You have to fill it hot and seal the cake, and then come over and I pick up the cake and take it home, and then I just put it aside, and then whenever, 2-3 days later or 2-3 weeks later, when I make beer, I just open it up, I throw the yeast, I pitch in, and I brew beer.
Yeah.
Cheap. And I don't have to do a lot of work because it's so hot, it kills everything.
Oh yeah, nothing's surviving with steam heat. Absolutely not. Christy, do we have anything else from the chat real quick?
Yeah, we actually have quite a few comments.
Oh, okay.
So looks like Jerry said that he always just waits till the next day to pitch.
Yep, that's typically what I do. Yeah.
And then also Christopher answered the question about his spreadsheet, and he said that it's mostly highly let's see, sorry, that was the wrong one. Mash, water, strike, and overall volumes. But he does have one for, and it looks like
Actually, I'm sorry. Bring up that last question again. The one that
highly modified this one.
Christopher's saying. Most highly modified malts these days normally don't need to be boiled very long, but there's no harm in 90 malt. That is actually interesting, Christopher, because we're using a Pilsner malt. My understanding was those EMS precursors are in there. Even if they're highly modified, they're still present. Now, I don't know that for a fact. This is me because I've been brewing for a very long time. Maybe you are correct in this, not as much of an issue. I can tell you with our extract batch, which was a no-boil batch, it was very present. It was extremely, I wouldn't say offensive, but I was a little angry about it. So.
And he is located in New England. is
New
what I asked.
England.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Treehouse Brewing, same place.
Very
So,
cool. Thanks for joining.
Where,
Yeah.
where is Christopher?
New England.
Oh, okay.
So, we're Treehouse Brewing's in Massachusetts, but love that brewery. So
Very
You know, I would mention, I was facing a dilemma is that I'm gonna plan to have like almost weekly brew along with new powder brewers. And if I do that, I'm gonna have a lot of beer. And of course, when we do virtual, so we cannot drink all the beer. It turned out that I live next to the library. My library, the county library right behind me. So I went over there and I saw they have a nice conference room. So I said, can we use it? They said, yeah, you can use it as long as you have 10 people and you don't charge people anything. I said, well, I want to start a brew club. Can we serve beer in there? He said, you can, but everyone had to be 21 and you have to get an application for that. I said, okay now. So I can start having my brew along in the library, and I invite local people to come and watch or brew along with me and bring my beer. So it's going to be one popular club, right?
Yeah, talk about people. So, are you going to the bar? No, I'm going to the library.
Yeah.
Beer now. They've got it at the library. Oh my gosh. Well, you're doing a lot of virtual sessions with that. Are you still planning on doing your weekly Pot-Au-Brew for the new brewers, or does it kind of depend on how your system?
I'm kind of almost done with the manufacturing design phase. Now is actually production and then share with people. and I'm into more the marketing and sales phase and teaching the educating phase. So that means I'm gonna have some more beer to do. I have to do more of these sessions, and the more of these do, I have beer. And I was thinking some crazy idea. You know, I want to create. Now you will be really good with that because you're a good talker, right? So, so you're a lot better than that
Yep.
than I am. So I want to create a series, and the
Okay.
title of the series is "Let's Pot-Au-Brew This," which means that we would go to a famous place. Like we go to Russian River, and we go to the Chute, and we go to Sierra Nevada, and then we visit the thing, talk to the microbrewer, talk to the brewmaster, to show them how they brew the beer, and taste some of the beer. And after we take one beer, we will look at each other and say, "Let's Pot-Au-Brew this." So that would mean we will replicate that beer with the Pot-Au-Brew, because the Pot-Au-Brew can do it exactly in the way they do it. And then, of course, we pre-make it ahead of time, right? And then, so when we say let Pot-Au-Brew that, we cut away for commercial, come back with the Pot-Au-Brew and pour the taste and have the brewmaster taste it. So what do you think? So at a travelogue, it kind of show people about the places that they like to go to. You know, Guinness, for in England, I do this show, and I don't think they mind at all. They love it. We go to Belgium, we go to this monk place and brew some of that beer, because unless you brew that yourself, you won't have that beer where you live, right? In a different country.
And that was one of the reasons why I started homebrewing back, God, 20 years ago, whatever it was because the craft beer movement wasn't in full swing, and I wanted beers that I couldn't get locally, and extreme styles that weren't available, and European, Belgian, German, and all of these things. So to have the ability to make something like that was the reason I got started. I don't know if going to breweries and pot-au-brewing their beers, I don't know if they'll start to, people get thrown out, you know, like, oh, here's the pot-au-brew, get them out of here. But they could love it, though. They could absolutely love it.
I know they will love it, because this is a way to introduce them into the audience, and then they can even, if we have enough people with pot-au-brewers in the world, we actually can sell their kit, you know, like sell their Pliny the Elder kit, you know, for the pot-au-brew.
That's true. Yeah. Let me check our time real quick. We're still 26 minutes left in the mash.
But I'm already almost 180, 1080. I think 1078 right now.
You beat me? Okay, I got to take a measurement now. Jerry, how you doing, bud? Give us a measurement. Oh. This is the racing of the mash sugars. Let's give it a stir. Let's see where we're at. God, it smells so good.
Yes.
So I am excited to be repitching the yeast from a prior batch. And I've always wanted to reuse yeast, and I've done it a little bit, but it's such a, forgive me, it's such a pain in the ass. It really is. And then using your yeast farmer to do it is just, it's 4 minutes, and you've got sterile wort that you can pitch yeast into. You can do the starter in the mason jar. Like, let me get it out again in case we got some new people that joined us that haven't seen it, but it's basically a lid that goes on a large mason jar. I'm going to set it here on the counter.
That you can microwave. That you microwave without blowing up. See, without burning your microwave oven. See, and you have a way to suck air in, you know, clean air in for your yeast. So what else you want? But that is like everybody have a mason jar. Like that thing only $15. You know, you make it up, and when you're not growing yeast, you can sterilize your kitchen sponge.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was really neat to be able to once sterilize a jar, but then to do a pre-done wort, because I get lazy. I'm sure a lot of us do, and to do a starter batch of wort for a starter, like I was looking at those new pre-done, pre-canned wort. They come in like a 16-ounce can. You crack it open, sterile wort, pour it into your starter. So to be able to actually do in 4 minutes a batch of sterile wort that you can use for your fermenter or for your yeast to build it up in 4 minutes and done, like that was a game changer. Like I was shocked because the only reason I stumbled on this thing is because you happened to mention it during one of our live streams. Like, oh, check this out! I invented this. You ran to your shed, you came back, you brought the lid, and I was like, why aren't you selling this? This thing is a game changer. This is amazing. You don't have to take 15, 20 minutes to make a starter. You can do it in 4 minutes in the microwave, and you don't have to pitch right away. Put it in the fridge, save it for a month or two. It's sterile. It's not going to off gas. It's like you don't have to dirty a bunch of equipment. Sorry, I got to do a measurement here, see if I'm catching up to you boys.
Well, Jerry is at 1083 and holding.
Ooh, I'm at 1085.
Oh, wow.
1085.
All right. So we getting there, huh?
We're getting there. We're slow. We're a little older, you and I, so we're a little slow getting there, but eventually we do. Man, this smells good. Christy, do you want a wort taste?
Yes,
You have something
absolutely.
else for us?
Actually, I do. Let me post this quick.
Oh, well, I'm 185 too, so we are.
Oh, we're neck and neck.
Yeah.
We should start placing bets before this thing starts to see who's going to win the malt race.
And then what is Jerry?
What was Jerry at, Christy?
1083.
1083.
And then Christopher had a comment about the DMS precursors.
Oh, yes, please. Please.
Oh, no, he commented, for sure there are more DMS precursors in 2-row. Also, the yeast helps to clean up a lot of that. As mentioned, Philosophy did a test with German Pils malt with 30M and 90M.
Okay. See, I'm a big Philosophy fan too. I don't watch as much of their stuff as I should. Okay. So, all right. Well, you know what? Maybe the modification to Trong's point, because it's not as big of a batch, 90-minute boil may not be necessary. I'll have to check out that Philosophy episode. They put out so much stuff every week.
He said he meant precursors in German, 6-row. So.
Now,
Not true.
let me point out another benefit with Pot-Au-Brew. Let's say that you want to do an experiment where you want to know whether you're gonna boil at 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes. It's so much easy to do with a Pot-Au-Brew, right? Brian, if you can do an experiment with 30 or 60 or 90 minutes, you can do with 3 Pot-Au-Brew. Let's tell you the whole story because it's so easily done.
That's true.
That is the kind of thing that people will find that Pot-Au-Brew is so useful for microbrewery to make new pilot, experimental batches. Hop grower can use the Pot-Au-Brew to see how the hop tastes in beer. Master can do Pot-Au-Brew to quality control and check the characteristics of their beer. And university can use it to teach the student how to brew beer because it brew the same way that you brew traditionally.
On the larger system, much faster. Now, you've done some work with some universities, haven't you, Tom?
Yes. I graduated from UCD. We have the best brewing department in the world. I mean, the oldest in the United States and the best.
But that's an unbiased opinion, right?
I think we should be done right now. Well, we can transfer. How many more minutes you have?
I got 20 minutes on the mash. 20 more minutes. You know what? Did I bring iodine with me? Hey, hang on a second. Let me see if I brought some iodine with me today. If we did, I can do a starch test and I'll see if mash is converted. So I'm gonna unplug for a second. I'll be right back. Yes, as luck would have it, I do have some iodine with me. Trong, are you familiar with the iodine test for your?
I do.
Yeah.
I need to do it. I don't remember exactly how to do it. Basically, you do we look at the color of change to purple and see whether you have any starch left in there. Yeah.
You got it. Chat, can you let me know if you guys are familiar with the iodine test?
Yeah.
I don't do it very often, but sometimes it comes in handy. All right, so Christopher before I came form here. Basically, you take, for those of you who don't know, you take a little sample of wort, try to keep the grain out of it. You're going to put it in a white dish if you can. And then, let me grab my iodine. I'll come back to camera for you. Basically, you put a little dot in your wort.
The purple color you're looking for, right?
Yep. And see if it changes to purple. If it doesn't, I'm going to spread it out a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see that. You know what? I got to be honest. I don't see a lot of purple in there. I don't see any purple in there. Yeah. You know what? Mash conversion might be complete, Tron. Maybe we can cut this a little shorter and speed up our mash.
Just from the way the thing that you have and the conversion process, I almost can guess that you
I think we got full conversion. No, I think we're good to go. All right, let's start sparging out. Let's raise our mash temps to 168.
Just rinse it, right? Rinsing time, right?
Well, let me ask you this, Tron. Here's a good question. So when I typically mash on a big system, I will bring the temperature of the mash itself up to 168 before I start sparging. With your method, and it's brew in a bag, which I don't have as much experience with, do you bring temperature up in the mash, or do you immediately start sparging?
I just sparge because
you just sparge.
Yeah,
okay.
Firstly, I make good beer to drink, not to compete. So, I don't enter any competition. So I'm not. I can be a little goofy. You know?
Well, it's part of the fun of brewing. I don't like it when I hear brewers that kind of look down on other people's methods or systems, or it's like if you're making beer and you're having a good time, then just enjoy the hobby. You mentioned earlier, Trong, where the homebrewing hobby is on the decline. As brewers age out, and a lot of people don't want to invest in the equipment and stuff. So any way people can brew beer, any way people can brew beer, I totally support.
Look at Jerry an example. Look, many of my customers, Kelvin, he has all kind of brewing system in his life now. He got the Pot-Au-Brew. He just love it. He orders a cup of extra brew, like mini brew, that cost like $800 for 5 liter, and he just return it. And he want to get another Pot-Au-Brew. And of course, if he get another Pot-Au-Brew, he can get the basic or the bare bone version. He'd only need the pot, basically the Pot-Au-Brew, and that comes with the floating dip tube, and that's it. The rest is he already has.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right, so brew in a bag. I'm just squeezing it out.
Yeah.
Well, yes, squeezing it out.
I don't know if you see me on that, but I am just kind of,
You let
squeeze
it
the
drink.
back and let
right.
most of the thing come out, and I'm doing just like you do. Yeah.
All right. So let me ask this question to the people in chat. What's your thoughts on squeezing the green bag? That's a controversial topic. We've done some tests on it ourselves, so I'm curious what people think about it. If they can tell a difference, should you squeeze it? Should you only squeeze it sometime? Like, what's your thought? Let me know.
I just squeeze the bag because I'm cheap.
Wrong, no spoiling it.
No. You asked the question.
I know. No, you're fine, my friend. You are good. All right, let me get my water. I'm gonna move my electronics here. Guess I don't need that timer anymore since we're cutting our mash short. Hallelujah.
It looks like Jerry started sparging, and he also said, put the squeeze on it.
What did Jerry
Now,
say?
gentle squeeze. Do you kind of gotta, or is it just you just go for it? I mean,
Yeah.
attaboy, Jerry.
So now we can actually while we have him watching, we can start the boiling.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and Trong, you got to refresh my memory. All right, so I got my 2 kettles. I'm going to squeeze the main grain bag into the Pot-Au-Brew, and I'm going to dump it into the sparge water, right? Okay.
Right.
All right.
Right. You put that in there.
All right, I'm squeezing, Jerry.
And then just for fun, we're gonna measure the sparkling water, the rinse water, to see how much sugar we got.
All right. Get that moved over. Yeah, that's going to overflow. Chris, you got a larger pot. Or is this your biggest?
I think that's going to be
I might have
my biggest pot.
planned for.
I should have gotten that bigger stock pot.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Let me
No, I
look
did
real
this
quick.
before, but how did I do this last time? I don't remember. It's all good. It's the fun part about doing stuff live. Like, we're not perfect. We'll figure it out. Yeah, no, that's going to overflow for sure.
You know, another nice thing to do. I have a vessel I saw. I put on this on a leather drain.
Oh, a colander. That's a good idea.
Yeah, leather drain there. And it's gonna take a lot of time, but it drains nicely, and you get a lot of liquid out without squeezing it. So, for the critics, I'm not
The
squeezing.
anti-squeaker.
I let gravity do the job.
Yeah. Gravity and time.
And actually, it takes a lot of liquid, it drains, you know, and I just leave it on the colander like this, you know, like 10, 15 minutes later, I just could keep dumping the liquid in.
Yeah. Yeah, I got too much liquid in my sparge pot. I think, you know what I did last time? I think I'm doing right now. Because I have the 2 Pot-Au-Brews. I have your original version that you helped us build, and then the new version. I think I was sparging in the old Pot-Au-Brew, which is a larger kettle than this one here. Yeah, I just need to brew more. That's the problem. I don't brew enough. Ooh. There we go. All right. Liquid transferred. So thank you, Christy. Rock star. You know, honestly, Benham Brewing couldn't do what we do if not for Christy. Like, seriously. She is a rock star. She'll deny it, but there we go. All right, let's put this down here before it gets too hot. Woo! All right. So Jerry was sparging. Curious what our OG is, or our pre-boil gravity is. Fire that up, I think. Oh, and then, let's see if I can find a colander. What we got here? Here we go. Yeah, there we go. That'll play.
Perfect. Combine the two things.
All right. I'm about to transfer my sparge into my kettle, and I'm going to let this drain in the colander. There we go. Some towels for this. Yep. No, I found the colander, Christy. Thank you. I threw everything on the floor from the cabinet, so just make it a mess. go. All right. And yeah, let's fire up that burner while it's draining.
My sparge water is 1023.
Oh shoot, I didn't do the sparge water. Or just dumped it. 1023. Okay, that's pretty good.
So
That's
now
really
I'm gonna
good.
mix it up. I'm gonna measure it together.
Okay. Yeah, let's get a pre-boil gravity on it. Jerry, make sure don't forget like I did. Measure your pre-boil. I want to see how you're at, what you're going to finish at. As far as the mash goes. Any comments on chat as far as squeezing the grain bag besides Jerry, who's the hard squeezer?
Okay, so we do have a couple of comments, actually quite a few, so and questions. So Christopher asked, is this full volume mash, and are we doing sparging, double sparging?
Yes, it is not a partial boil. It's a full boil. And then, what was that second part of the question? Is it
Dunk sparging?
dunk sparging? Yes.
Okay.
Good questions. Thank you.
It looks like Jerry is at boil now.
Oh, Jerry's killing us.
And it says, which, sorry, my eyes are failing me right now.
Oh, good.
Also, which lava bond for the Munich? 1020, pure Munich 123.
What
My
was the bomb?
pre-boil gravity is 1050.
1050. We're supposed to be at 1053, Trong. You're pretty much there.
Oh, and Christopher also says squeezing doesn't matter as long as you aren't doing it over 168.
Oh, okay, well, that's good to know.
Interesting. See, and we did some experiments where we found the darker the grain, typically the more astringent you get, although fermentation tends to clean that up, so it's not as big of an issue. But I hadn't thought about gravity. That's a great point. Lobobon for which malt?
Oh, I think he meant 168 degrees.
There was a question on which
Oh,
Lobobon
yeah.
for the grain. That's the darkness of the grain, the color of the grain.
Yeah, it was Munich 1020, Car Munich 12.
Okay, so the Munich's 9. Well, he asked for Lobobon. I got SRM. We can convert that. The Cara Munich's 9 SRM. The Cara Dextrin 2. It's minimal. It wouldn't matter. The Cara Munich malt is 56 SRM. I hope that answered the question. If I didn't, please chat me up. Let me know. My recipe's falling apart. So.
And Jerry is at 1058.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
1058. My goodness. All right, let me take a reading. Let's see what it is. Finish with this. All right. May the beer gods.
What did you do to get it so high?
He's adding sugar.
Brian, when you did this beer last time, do you remember it being on par with what you did last time? Because it turned out really good.
As far as the metrics and stuff?
Yeah.
It's been 3 days. I don't remember. I know. I do remember my gravity was a little low, so I adjusted the recipe to account for the efficiency. Brewing a bag isn't as efficient as other methods, but it's such a small batch, so it doesn't matter. We're talking about pennies. Oh, I know. Oh, no way. I'm at 1053. 1053. I nailed it.
Christopher says that.
How much water you have?
I got a lot.
Christopher says that depending on boil rate, you'll go up about 5 to 15 points.
Yeah. Let's see here. Here I don't have sparge water. Should be just over 2 gallons of water in here. And you know what? Probably it's something I've been meaning to make. For my larger system, I have a copper tube pipe that I've measured out metric, so I can stick in the boil kettle and know how much is in there. I don't have that for the Pot-Au-Brew. I need that, so I'm definitely going to go over 2 gallons. I just don't know by how much. So we'll let it run. We'll let it go. But I'm happy with that. No tape. And there we go. All right, so 2.3 gallons. And we've got to be pretty close to that. 1053. You did hit 1053. We're approximately at maybe 2.5 gallons. I gotta get a better measuring system for that. All right. Hey, here's a question for chat. Anybody drinking a beer today while they're brewing, while they're enjoying our stream? I want to hear what you're drinking and where it's from. I'm curious how many IPAs are out there. Just don't get me wrong, I love IPAs, but because Christy loves IPAs so much, it kind of...
Yes, I'm drinking one right now. I actually want to know if anyone else besides us has tried to ferment in the Pot-Au-Brew yet, because with Oktoberfest coming up, it's a perfect time to do like sauerkraut, and I was going to try to do it in the Pot-Au-Brew. I know Brian's already done it, but I do like the fact that it gets rid of the mold situation, and it keeps it,
For the sauerkraut?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, as long as you keep it on the liquid, yeah. No, the Pot-Au-Brew makes excellent sauerkraut. That's a game changer. That was, now, be patient with it, because when I did it, I was expecting it to be done in a week or 2. No, it's a minimum 3 weeks at least. But it is, when you're making sauerkraut in the Pot-Au-Brew, because it's under pressure, because it's oxygen free, it is the crispiest sauerkraut you will ever have, and it is unbelievable. So good.
Hey, I just finished a sauerkraut made in a mason jar with a yeast farmer lid, and you see this? It's really, really good.
It's what sauerkraut did you use? That's pretty dark.
Yeah, that's actually I made with red cabbage, beets, and ginger. It's really good. Now,
okay.
The way that I made it, we can do a video for this. This is the way I make it, very different from other people, because it's really crunchy. I'm gonna eat some of this, and you're gonna hear how noisy it is.
Oh, good. ASMR. My favorite.
Also, just to let you know, Jerry said he has but he's going to boil for 30 minutes. So he'll probably be leaving us. He is drinking the Sam Adams that way. So.
Okay, very nice. We appreciate you joining today, Jerry, and hanging out with us for as long as you could. I know this was a long stream, but no, we definitely appreciate you coming in and supporting and hanging out and learning and sharing.
No, I missed what happened to Jerry. He says it go.
He's got a prior commitment, so he's going to boil for half an hour, and then he's got a jet.
Okay, do you see what Trong is using to pick up his sauerkraut?
Is he using John?
Yes.
Oh God, all right, I'm going to the silverware drawer.
Yeah, this is the part of this is the sour slaw. It's not sauerkraut because it tastes like sauerkraut but crunchy like coleslaw.
Yes, it's very crisp. That stuff is pretty awesome.
You hear a noise?
Yes.
It's so crunchy. Delicious.
No, that sounds amazing, Trong, honestly. I was just commenting because Brian always gives me a hard time because I use chopsticks for everything. You use chopsticks to pick up the coleslaw too. So,
I'm gonna do the chopsticks for the hop edition. We're just gonna go one at a time and it boils.
That looks so good.
Yeah, I still have a couple jars that I have to go through. So yeah.
We need to do a session on making sour slaw. It's really fast. You can do it like in about 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, depends on whether you show the chopping the vegetable or not. But
yeah,
people will love it.
Christopher wants to know what size is the pot?
in a 10-liter pot that you can brew 8 liters. You need about around 2 liters of headspace. But since you, or even less, because we ferment under pressure, so we kind of suppress the krausen a bit. So I never have any problem brewing 2 gallons in a 10-liter pot.
Yeah, I definitely seem to get less boil over when I'm dealing with the pressure in the Pot-Au-Brew, even though the headspace is sufficient. So yeah, it's not an issue. I feel like I have a lot of liquid in my kettle. So
To me,
boil.
it's a sweet spot because it weighs about 25 pounds with the lid and the 2 gallon, and it fits in most refrigerator, and you can tap right in the refrigerator. So you don't need a kegerator, you don't need anything special to brew this. It's not an appliance. We use everything you already have in your kitchen. It's very important to realize it. And the only thing that you really need FI control is like the temperature during mashing and during fermentation. Because boiling is boiling. You get the boiler to boiling point, and chilling you have to chill, right? It go on only in the mashing or in the fermentation when you need control the temperature. You have to think. So anything else that people can do that, YouTube and app and things, it's just a bunch of bullshit. You don't really need that. Right? But what you really need is a way to get your beer out nicely without foam, without drip, and doesn't clog up your poppet valve and doesn't leave a lot of beer in your container. So to me, the most important part of a fermenter for this is the floating dip tube. The floating dip tube is the most important component of this system. Because anything happens to the floating dip tube, you have to open up your container to fix. Meaning that you're gonna expose your beer, your wood into air, to oxygen. And a thing can happen if you have a lousy floating dip tube. You can clog the poppet valve. It's only suck out foam into the liquid. It's gonna leave a lot of beer left behind when you're done. So whatever you can afford it or not, you really should get the best floating dip tube for your system. So,
we have a couple comments from Christopher. So one, he is drinking Lagunitas Yeast of Both Worlds, 8%. He's not sure what's next.
I have not had that one.
I have not either.
Something I'm a fan of, but I haven't had that.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I'm a big fan of Lagunitas.
Yeah.
And then question, are there volume stamp edges on the Pot-Au-Brew? And I think we just talked about that there are not.
Well,
he also said really quick, nice soup spoon to try. But, yes, but about the etching, I think we talked about, yes, there's not, right?
Well, in my version of the kettle, I don't etching markings. Now, Trong, I don't know for the ones that you're shipping now, do they have volume markers on the interior?
no, I don't have them the current version, but I have some of the people that have it. My thing already boiling right now, and my boiling starts already. So
okay.
So then I have to turn it off now. How do I get a boil over? This thing is really fast. But in the future, we have a volume marker. But some of the early adopters, they make a little stick with marker on it and a stirrer stick, and then they use it as a measuring stick.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about doing. I have a copper stick that I use, pipe with markings on it, that I use for my boil kettle. I was going to make one for this one. I usually hand carve the handle out of wood so it doesn't get hot with a copper bit. So, copper in beer is always good for the yeast. Helps with their health. So
you only need to marker 1 gallon and 2 gallons. Maybe you need a 5 gallon or 8
I was going to go with every half a cup was what I was going to do. It's really, get some precision in the system. I'm going to have a beer, actually. I'm thinking, since I'm out of my beer, I think we have an IPA. There we go. I don't think this one is distributed across the U.S. It's a brewery up in Flagstaff. Arizona, called Mother Road. This is their Tower Station. It is a hazy IPA, I believe. No, it's just an IPA, although it is hazy.
No, it's definitely, this beer is probably my favorite beer. And it's just a traditional, almost more West Coast style, I'd say, but it is really, really
Remember
good.
the cans we got, was it our last shoot day or a couple shoot days ago? It was clearly the bottom of the bright tank. Like it had some sediments in it. It was cloudy. There was a lot of beer candy in the bottom of that.
I don't know what your thoughts are. I particularly don't like the beer candy, but I know a lot of people love that. Like at the end, I don't know. It's just a personal preference, I guess. But.
I think it depends. I think we're talking Belgian beers.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's
beer candy
different.
in the bottom of that. Yeah, those monastery beers. Yeah, I think those are nice. But if I'm drinking an IPA, I don't want a big slug of yeast at the bottom of it. That's not my favorite. No. Which is what's nice. This is called a tieback. That's what's nice about the floating dip tube, the floating 2.0, because like other dip tubes, it like takes the beer from the top of your fermenter, where it's the freshest, the cleanest, all that fun stuff. But then because of the two screens, the stainless screens that are on there, once it hits the bottom, you don't get a lot of that junk in your glass. So it's definitely a necessity on the Pot-Au-Brew, and it's a accessory. It's not an appliance. It's an accessory that I put in all my kegs, because that's necessary. Hey, Christopher asked you, are you familiar with the Float It 2.0 by Homebrewer LAB? Have you heard of it? Have you used it?
Oh, Christopher asked, imagine a miso savory stout.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'm intrigued. A miso savory
Well,
stout.
I mean, think about it with Barrel Works, I think it was. They did like a kimchi beer, I think.
Which I avoided, I'm sure.
No,
Yeah.
But-
What's the question? What was the question again?
imagine a miso savory stout. I can see miso though. It's a very
Umami
rich,
kind of.
yeah.
Okay, Christopher, here's a question for you. So is this a recipe you're imagining, or have you had it, or have you brewed it?
And what
I'm
are your
curious.
thoughts, Trong? Do you think you
Yeah.
could you come up with a recipe?
That to put miso thing in there? Yeah. I
Yes.
guess you can do anything. Like people in Asia, they do all kind of beer. They throw a lot of tropical fruit that we don't even know, and they put in there like jackfruit, dragon fruit, all sort of things, and it could be good, right? I mean, you just balance out, and maybe. Another thing too is the Pot-Au-Brew is really good for making kimchi. We can make a massive amount of kimchi with this perfectly good.
I think my defoamer might have.
So what do you put? Now I have can you tell us when I start? I have my hop socks on and I'm ready to.
I will let you know when I start boil. I was last at 185 when I checked it. I don't think my induction burner is as powerful. We're at 190 right now, so we're almost there. I will let you know when I hit boil, and we'll hop together. Jerry's already boiled and finished, I'm sure.
Tell me when the schedule, so I start waiting out my hops.
I will do that. You got it. Anything from Christopher on his miso beer? Because I'm really curious now.
So we have Hallertau and Northern Brewer hops, right?
Correct. Yes. Christy, if you don't mind, throw up our recipe again on the screen. Let's talk about our
Yeah, of course,
schedule
absolutely.
for today. We talked about our mash. We talked about the grain bill, the mash steps. Let's do the hop schedule real quick. So, and again, what I love about the Pot-Au-Brew too is I'm not used to being able to save so many hops because it's such a small amount. So the hop schedule, we're doing 0.14 ounces or 396 grams of the Herzbrucker. That's a German noble hop. Absolutely love it. That's our 90-minute hop edition. We're doing 0.14 ounces or 396 grams of the Northern Brewer, 90 minutes. And then 0.14 ounces or 396 grams of, again, the Hirschbrucker at 15 minutes. And if you've got any sort of clarifier, definitely throw it in at that point. Let's see where we're at temp-wise.
Can you put that screen on again and you can write it down? Where's everybody?
Sorry, Trong, I dropped out for a second. Say that again.
Okay, can you put out the hop schedule up again?
Oh, yeah, we'll put that back up. And I'll be running a timer for all of those as we get down to them. So while we're doing the hop schedule, I'm starting to see a simmer here. We're getting close. Had a bit of sad news at our local homebrew store this past week. I guess their malt supplier, they were using proximity malts at a local warehouse, and unfortunately caught fire. And they can no longer supply the malts that our local homebrew shop, the last one in Arizona, well, I shouldn't say last one of the last ones in Arizona. So they're switching over to Great Western malts, which is a good malt. So I'm excited about that, but it's a shame that that fire, somebody ended up dying. That was awful, 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 awful.
So it looks like Jerry is almost done with his 30-minute boil, and Christopher mentioned taro and coffee tastes good. So a coffee stout with taro might be good. And you can also see the Pot-Au-Brew helping to make Belgian candied syrup for brewing those.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely.
Are you sure? I'm sure the hop schedule is correct with the 396 grams of hops? That's a lot of hops.
No, maybe I did the math wrong on that. Let's see, because I only work in ounces. I'm not used to these four units of measure, which make more sense because they're based on 10 versus the weird American ones. Let's see here. Can you pull up a conversion for me, Christy? 0.14 ounces of hops. What is that in grams? Did I goof it up? I might have goofed it up.
0.14 or 1.4?
0.14 ounces. If I goof that up, I will definitely correct it in post.
0.14 ounces is approximately 3.96 grams.
3.96 grams. Wow, I missed the decimal.
Yeah, you missed basically 4 grams. Yeah. But
I hope you order hops by the pound.
Yeah, so
because,
we can check the 90 minutes in now, right? Yeah.
Oh, you already put yours in. Okay, I'm not boiling yet, but that's all right.
Oh, so I'm already boiled, so.
Well, we're real close. Really close. I'll go and put my hop sock in. There it is. So I will fix that I must have missed decimal point. I just got glasses a month ago, so maybe I wasn't wearing it when I did the math on that one. That's not embarrassing at all. There we go. All right, we're getting there. Do you have your own timer set there, Trong, for your hops?
Yeah, I got. I already checked in my 90 minutes off.
I think I'm about 5 minutes behind you, so I will put mine in once I get there.
You think they use much hop at all?
No, not at all.
4 grams. Huh?
Yep, nice and easy. So we're getting a simmer going, so I'm right behind you, Trong. I need to get a more powerful induction burner. This thing was only like $30, so it's not super powerful, but it does the job as long as you're not in too much of a hurry.
How many watts does yours have?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see if it says on there.
16 watts, my 1800 watts.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I don't remember. I bought it used. It was a good deal.
It looks like Jerry just dropped his last hop edition.
Good to go, Jerry. Showing us up. But
Jerry, the one that's starting the Facebook group. He the one that started a Pot-Au-Brew Facebook group.
Yeah. No, I appreciate him doing that. That's nice to have a community kind of there. It's starting to grow pretty quickly. It's only been around for a couple of weeks. It's taken off quite a bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I can tell it's gonna be very popular because people are very enthusiastic, and in a few weeks they already grew like Jerry already maybe in 3rd batches already. You know?
Yeah.
And he already finished.
Yeah. Chris, if you're not a part of that Facebook group yet, definitely jump on board.
Now,
There we go. All right.
how long do you have to lager this at all? This beer? Can you drink right away or?
Oh, you can figure it out away. Yeah, it doesn't need any aging to speak of. I mean, all right, I'm adding my hops. I'm starting my timer. All right, 1 down. Oh wait, no, I gotta add both. I'm sorry. Those are both 90-minute hops, aren't they? Yep, Hallertau and the Northern Brewers. So we're gonna jump those in. We're off to the races. All right. Christopher, let me know what you decide what your next beer is. You're doing the Lagunitas. Yeah, Lagunitas. You weren't sure about the next one. I'm curious to see what you're moving on to. I moved on to an IPA under protest. That's all that is beer, Christy. That's all she drinks. So
It's not all I drink. And I think he said Dogfish Head.
ooh, I haven't had Dogfish Head in a while. All right.
Well, being from New England, I imagine it's very popular.
I mean, I love IPAs. I'm totally not against them. I just sometimes my palate's a little burnt out because of the amount of IPAs that we end up going through. So,
I don't only drink IPAs, especially during the fall months. I'm excited to drink a Marzen, but we're going to brew a Marzen coming up. So
yeah, that's coming. Yeah, we get that on the
October
schedule.
1st.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna be too late by the time it's done, but we gotta get on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Our schedule is so busy, which is a good problem to have, but it definitely makes it challenging. So, Pot-Au-Brew from one of the other innovations, and I tried it out. Let me show you. So you sent me the 3D file for your little tap system here. So this is really cool to be able to hook it up to Pot-Au-Brew and pressurize it. It's like a mini CO2 tank with a regulator on it. I mean, it's just and a manual control to adjust the amount of pressure that goes in there. This has been amazing. And it was weird. The first version of this you sent me was actually too small for the CO2 cartridges I got.
Oh yeah, I said
Large.
you increase it. Yeah, you
I
correct
scaled
it.
it. It's really nice to be able to at least keep that upright in between uses. And I've actually used this on not only the Pot-Au-Brew, but my other kegs. When I need to push beer out or apply a little bit of pressure, it's nice to have a threaded CO2 cartridge to have like full control over. That's been really, really nice.
But you know, what really nice with that system too, you see this? You can have that on champagnes. Okay, you can put this, and then you open your bottle of champagne, you pour yourself a glass, and you put the thing back on, and then you charge it again, so that you can recarbonate your your champagne.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's been really nice. I used to use it was an emergency bicycle tire inflator. You put a CO2 cartridge in. I used to use that to emergency pressurize my kegs. And there's no control, there's no dial. You just kind of and hope that it's not overpressurizing it. This with the manual control, it's not a trigger and the actual dial on it. It's just, and this comes with the Pot-Au-Brew, which is amazing.
And you can recharge. There's a scale on the lid, so that let's say that when you start, after you finish pressure fermentation, your pressure may be 20 psi, and you want to cold crash it at 15 psi, and you know that the pressure will drop, and you don't know where to set it up. Well, with that thing, you can set up 15 psi, and put it on you can preset it. So when the core crashing process started, the pressure starting drop down from 20 down to 15, and they're gonna maintain at 15. So that's the reason I put the scale right on the adjustment knob, so that you can preset the pressure. Without the scale, you don't know where to set, right? You have to go back and keep checking.
Yeah.
You see that is a very subtle feature, but unless you do. You will find it. Now,
well, it comes in some situations.
The champagneur that I just showed you, right? Also work on tonic water bottle. So you have a tonic water, you don't drink tonic water, you only use a mixed drink. And then once in a while you need one, and then your tonic water is flat. You put that thing on the tonic water and you recharge it. Right? So you keep like this also charges 2-liter Coke bottle. If you drink a lot of Coke, you want to charge it.
You know who drinks a lot of Diet Coke?
Yeah, and then you don't want to have flat.
I am the most interested in this product right here.
Yeah. The name of this thing is Champagneur. The name of this little thing, and then you can actually change this thing and make the ring around it. In this case, this is the pride color. I have another version for Ukraine, and this is the same, but the ring. You see this? The ring on this thing is the Ukraine flag, and I can also put it on any NFL team, NBA team. Any kind of thing on the ring, so you can celebrate and this stuff.
I think we have another comment too. Give me one more minute. Let's throw that up real quick.
Let's see. Christopher says he's doing a Festbier next. The last one I brewed was first and second in a competition using hot fermentation, 1 week grain to glass. Okay, Christopher, tell us about the hot fermentation. Is that done hot under pressure, or is it a special yeast, or what technique do you use? I'd love to hear about that if you can share. Testing. Hey, Chris, sorry, I'm doing an audio check. Can you hear me now? Okay, I think I'm losing audio. I might switch out mics here real quick. If you heard me, I was asking about your fest beer and the hot technique you use. I'd be curious to hear that. If it was hot under pressure, hot with special yeast, like what's the secret sauce with that?
Yeah, it looks like he also has one called the Oats Are Back in Town for an oatmeal stout. That's a really great name.
There we go. The oats are back in town. Really? That's nice. All right. Is my audio okay? I switched mics. I want to make sure I can still hear.
I hear you better now.
Okay. Am I good?
Yeah.
We'll get a little low battery on that one. Technology. All right, we're rocking and rolling. Let's see what do we got until our next hot edition. But yeah, definitely keep us posted on that fest beer. I'm curious about the hot technique. Trong is bringing out all his champagne for today.
Yeah, so
Getting it all set up.
Christian drink a lot of Diet Coke.
Guilty as charged. I know it's bad, but yes, I do.
Okay.
And champagne. I drink a lot of champagne too. So.
Yeah. Then you need a champagne so that you keep your Coke fizzy.
No, I really do think I do. Between the champagne and the Coke Zero, I feel like I need that.
It's also pretty nice when you bottle. Sometimes I bottle beer, I give you a small half champagne bottle, and then I can charge it. I have a way of charging the bottle with a bottle post on top.
Well,
Yeah, that definitely helps.
It makes sense because, especially I live alone and I can't drink a whole bottle of champagne in one sitting. So it would be nice to be able, be able to save it because it's never the same once you open it, and then it goes flat. So
Exactly. Restaurant in Sacramento use my system to sell champagne by the glass. They sell a glass of champagne $10, $15, $20. They want to make sure that it's good. And with the champagne, they open, they pour right on the table like normal, and then they take it back to the counter, they charge it. And most restaurants already have CO2 gas, so all they need to do is just connect the injector. Pour this, put this on.
that's a big
recarbonate
thing.
it.
Yeah.
And then you can do for decorations with the ring, And in this one, I don't know if you can see it. With the Ukraine flag on top of it, is the military helmet with the peace symbol.
Yeah.
That is really cool. For charities, things like that would be amazing.
I sell these things and I donate 25% of it to Ukraine.
Wow, that is amazing.
I think Yelinsky's gonna come here in a few weeks. I'm gonna send him one of these.
Wait, who's coming in a few weeks?
Yelinsky, the president of Ukraine.
Oh, I didn't know that. No. He's visiting California then?
No, he come to the White House.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like Christopher commented that for he did a lager. He also said that's really cool about the Champagneur, but he used a lager yeast at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, no pressure, just really controlled fermentation. And he said he had a huge starter. So.
Okay.
But you see, I have another version that you can actually tap this. You tap it like you pour beer. And I have a flow control built in here so the champagne come out slowly. Otherwise, champagne have 90 psi pressure. When you open a bottle of champagne, it's got 90 psi pressure. There's a lot of pressure in there. So you can use it to push your beer out. and if you don't have CO2 gas to charge it, you can use the champagne
Well,
tap.
that flow control coil you have in there is equivalent to, what was it, 8 feet of hose, the beer line, or 10 feet?
Depend on the side. Depend on the side of the tubing, the idea of the tubing. It could be
Yeah.
anywhere to 6 to 8 feet. And
Yeah.
it works. You can tell the resistance of that thing when you go through the cleaning the thing. With the
Yeah.
coil, you have to squeeze really hard for the liquid to go through.
Oh.
Without it, it'll go right through. And it's
Yeah.
that.
I got to make
that
one of those
CPFR,
because I always take mine apart completely to clean it, and it'd be much easier if I made one of those bottles to clean out my picnic taps, the 2.1.
Do you use the filler much? Because the filler is incredible. People just love it. Like Kevin, he said he never used the bottle filler for the last 10 years because so much work. But ever since he got a Pot-Au-Brew, he just filled bottle. He said he's take 15 minutes to fill 10 bottles. So he's been doing that. He mentioned that in our Facebook group.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that post yet. I'll have to give that a try though.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
All right, well, we're just boiling
let
right
me ask you this.
Yeah.
Unless you have the pricing for this thing, the whole kit, the total kit is $400. I think it comes everything. It comes with charges, it comes with everything. So I think that's a very reasonable thing for price because the quality and the durability, and you have the 3 best components. You have the best floating dip tube, you have the best spunding valve, you have the best cap, and you have the monitor, and you have everything. So I think that's a pretty fair price.
It's a really good price for what you get with it. I mean, it doesn't sound outrageous, especially for what you get. A solid stainless pressure capable vessel that will last you forever, pretty much. You get solutions for the spunding, which will last you forever. You get the float at 2.0. You get the pressure relief so that, you're not over-pressurizing or under-pressurizing your kettle. You get the ability. I'm sorry, Trong, I'm hearing crinkling in the background. I'm not sure if I'm crinkling stuff. It sounds like plastic wrap.
You get hop socks.
Okay, we're moving on then. We do the hop stock. You get the way to pressurize it. I mean, you get a lot of beginner brewing kits. You're going to spend $100. Okay, you're going to get a plastic fermenter, buckets. You're going to get a bottling wand. You're going to get a way. It doesn't usually come with a kettle. Sometimes it does, and it doesn't include bottles. It doesn't include sanitizer. It doesn't include anything else that normally comes with it. With the Pot-Au-Brew, you're not only getting for $400. I'm not sure if shipping's included. I know you're working on that. But for $400, you get a stainless vessel, which will last you forever. You get the hop stock solutions so that you minimize the amount of hop junk that's left over. And not only a fermentation vessel with all the solutions, and then the cold side, which is the serving of it with carbonation, under pressure, with flow control, and it's basically from grain to glass. Literally everything you need to make beer and have full control over the entire process. You can do extract if you want to make it fast. You can do all grain if you want to have more control over it. And if you're tired of beer, you can make cider, mead. If you like food, kombucha, kimchi,
sour slaw.
What was that other thing we were talking about making? And it magali?
Yeah, I don't know
is that
if
how
we
it's
can
pronounced?
do it yet,
I don't know,
but
we wanted to see if we could do that. But I mean, there's so many options with it. It is a good deal for the amount of things that it can do, and especially for someone that wants control over what they're doing.
And the best thing about that, if you, let's say that you get tired of the hoppy, you can always sell it. You can always sell it. People would buy it because they have all the retained value, right? So
That's probably true, although I have not seen any for sale yet on eBay. Everyone that's bought it so far is hanging on to it.
If you get an appliance, then if you get a big plastic appliance like some of the things, in a couple of years they're going to break down and then you're going to throw it away, right? And you're going to need to fix it. This sucker does not. You can always fix it.
Yes, there are many brewing systems out there. Some, like the pinter, which are, not necessarily an appliance, but they're a very fast, easy way to make beer. There are others that are more technologically advanced, but you run into the risk and the expense of not having as much control over things. No, it's very true. Trong.
I just wanted to point out really quick that Christopher described Jack's Abbey post-shift Bavarian pills.
Ooh, a Bavarian
That sounds
pit. Dude, your taste is right up my alley.
Is Jack's Abbey, that's not the one that we had in that beer advocate box? No, Jack's Abbey. Where's that from, Christopher?
Yeah, let us know.
I'm pretty good about
Bavarian
breweries, and I don't know where
pills.
that is. Also, he wants to know, how does the cap stay on at that pressure?
Which, the cap for the...
I'm guessing for the Champagnon, or no?
Okay, that's
I'm
a good
guessing.
question. So Trong, I believe Christopher's asking, how does the cap stay on the Champagnon device?
I'm thinking, or if I'm wrong, Christopher, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which.
Correct us, please. But
It's a very well engineered thing. It's gonna fit in 90% of the champagne bottle in the world. Even, we have 3 groups of champagne bottles: the American, the Italian, and the Spanish. They use, and the German do the same thing. The French have a lot of crazy bottle champagne bottles, but the Italian, we can use it. We have the tuners to work all of them, but they work perfectly for all those things, and it's very, very well engineered. There's a lock on that. You put it on, and you can actually put it on with one hand. It's the only champagne bottle in the world that you can put on with one hand. Right? And you don't have to.
That's actually so easy. That looks pretty easy to do. I know that you said you're not a salesperson, but so is it for sale or no? Like, if someone wanted to buy it, do they just reach out?
They write it to me. Actually, I have it on eBay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'll have to. No, it is really cool. I feel like for anything carbonated, it would just be a game changer. Even soda, after you open it, it's never the same. The second or third time, it's not like when you first open the bottle. So I'm gonna definitely get that.
Actually, if you have this, see, you have this. This is actually the best I search far and wide for the very best injector because a lot of junk out there, but this is very good, and it's very the most compact. You see, a lot of them sticking way out here. This is anyway. I really made these for me, so they have to be good.
Well, if the Champagnon is on eBay, I am excited for that, and anyone listening today can get it on there as well. So.
yeah, well, speaking of being on eBay, Trong, you're a yeast farmer, so we did a little bit of a video in the beginning, kind of a little bit of kind of how it functions, and I have some other videos planned because I really want to dive deep into it because I think it's such a game changer as far as making brewing easy, and being able to use a microwave is phenomenal. Do you have that posted for sale? Because I had a number of people leaving comments saying, I'm interested, like, where can I get this thing? Do you have plans to sell it?
I'm going to list to my website. Let me tell you, I don't like to put my thing on e-commerce site because they charge a lot of money, and I want to keep, just like I don't sell the funding back on eBay anymore because they charge a lot of, in order to keep the price the same, I only sell it directly from my website, and frankly, I'm not interested in selling a ton of them. I just want to keep the price down so more people can afford.
Yeah.
And people can always ask me where do we get the funding. I said to go to the website, and because if I sell on eBay or on Amazon, I have to tack on another 15-20%, and that'll be too expensive for me.
Sure.
And this is not a mass merchandise. I'm not going to sell thousands of these things. So I don't even sell for the people who appreciate it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the yeast farmer itself is a game changer as far as being able to handle yeast and store yeast and make quick starters. And like, I really feel a lot of potential with that. So if you're putting it officially on your website, I will definitely pin that on the YouTube comments to make sure that people know where to go, because I've had a lot of people asking, like, yeah, I'm interested. Where can I get this thing? So
You know what really good with the yeast farmer is? The yeast farmer can be really good as a pacifier sterilizer.
Mm.
It's a pacifier. I have a version of it that you can put 2 or 3 pacifier in there. You close it, you rinse it. You put a little bit of water. You stick it in a microwave in like 1 minute, and that thing's totally sterilized.
Yeah. I mean, there's multiple uses for it for sure. I mean, I'm being a selfish brewer, I'm more concerned with my yeast health. So I have not put a sponge in my yeast farmer yet. Although if I did, I know it could be 100% sterile. So, you know, there's no concerns with that.
I tell you why it is so good at sterilizing, because the microwave, if the bacteria have any liquid on them, and just a micro amount, they're going to be killed instantly by the microwave, because the microwave would heat up on any few molecule of water associated with it. They're going to kill it. So it's a very, very good way to sterilize them, especially in the microwave.
All right, how's your beer doing? My smells really good so far. We've still got another 51 minutes to go. I will have to check out that article or that video from Brewlosophy Christopher recommended as far as DMS in beer, because if it is less obvious, I mean, with this particular recipe, we do have a hop addition at 90 minutes, so I'm not sure we can shorten this one because it is bitterness for 90 minutes, so it helps to kind of balance it. But for other pilsners and things, it may be good to be able to shorten that stuff up. There's so many things and so much information on how brewing has changed, and I learned brewing reading books. This was before YouTube. I mean, I'm very much, for the most part, book knowledgeable, but some of that information is outdated now. So it's great to have somebody come in and be able to say, no, I've done this, and this is my experience. This is real. This isn't theory. This is what I've done. And
let me counter this about the hop addition thing, about the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You can shorten it by double the amount of hops, the bitter hop, instead of doing or increase the amount. So instead of using 4 ounces, 4 grams, you do 8 grams, and then you can do it in 60 minutes or less.
Well, so it's interesting because I'm a big brewer of 10, 15 gallons, and so you double the amount of hops. That's a big expense, but not this scale. At this scale, it's I mean, I still have the same hop packs I've recycled for the past 3 brews of different beers, which is great. So to be able to, if you're not dealing with DMS and you increase the amount of hops, I think that's great. Again, I've been brewing for so long, and I'm still learning all the time. I don't know everything. I love how much the brewing community likes to share. They don't shame people for what they don't know, generally speaking. There's some bad actors out there, don't get me wrong. But generally, everybody wants to help everybody make the best beer they can. And I love that about the community.
It was funny when I was weighing out the hops this time around. I'm like, there's so little hops, with just a few pellets. I'm like, I can't even believe I'm weighing this much out because it was such a little amount of hops. So I don't know. It's interesting to scale it back because I'm used to having to add a whole pack.
Well,
pack and a half.
Yeah, and when Christy's helping me on the big brew days and stuff, again, we're doing 10, 15 gallons of beer. We're measuring out hops, ounces and ounces of hops into stuff. So it's a little weird to be like, okay, that's it. Hops are done. That's our 60-minute boil. That's our 90-minute boil. Okay, here's our 15-minute addition, a couple of pellets. But and with the cost of things going up, it's nice to be able to actually have a decent amount of beer, not overly so, because as I'm getting older, I don't really drink as much. I tend to pack it on. But to be able to actually have a what's the word I'm looking for? Now I can't think of it. Too many beers in. But such a custom crafted batch of beer that doesn't take a ton of time, but is so unique that you can enjoy it with it. And Trong, I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
I think that remember 1 gram, 1 ounce of hop is 28 grams. You only use 4 grams, so you can double this sucker to 8 grams, and you cut yourself a lot of time.
A lot of time, especially.
Yeah, I
if
would think-
DMS is not a concern. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, for the bittering, yeah, for do the bittering, you can adjust the amount of hop to get the right amount of water, time in the shorter time, boil time.
Right.
Now,
Right.
we keep that concept in mind. I think if we can reformulate the hop structure, the hop processing formula, so that we can put all the hop in one package, and then we pitch it in 5 minutes. Right? Instead of boiling for 60 minutes, all day, you can shorten it, and you can get all the characters by adjusting the amount. Of course, I'm talking with the DMS thing. If you use extract, you don't concern so much about DMS because it's already boiled, right? So
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So then-
and what's interesting about extract, and because I've never really brewed extract before, but in some recent things that I've done, there's a lot of extract hops involved in it, and the variety of hop extract is extremely limited.
Yeah.
Or you have to buy a large barrel of it. Like it's not that common. I'm sure it's expensive to extract. So finding ways around hop extraction to speed up the process, tinctures or distillation, or it is kind of interesting to see the impact on the delicate hop oils that are available. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what I'm talking about, using hop pellets, but repackage them instead of using 4 ounces of this thing at 60 minutes or 4 ounces of something at 15 minutes and 4 ounces of thing. I would reformulate them. I say like 15 ounces or 15 grams of this thing and 18 grams of this, so that I can pitch in 5 minutes. Pitch the
Yes.
whole packet in 5 minutes and I get the same result. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. That is interesting. Yeah, the hop utilization is definitely something that's it's interesting to when you talk about speeding up the process and being able to double the hops to get the same utilization. I'm curious though, with that, where you talk about the isomerization of the apple acids, you're talking about perceived bitterness, and I know doubling it. From what you've told me, this is kind of new for me, but doubling it in a shorter amount of time, does it have the same flavor impact, or does it have the same IBU impact?
Oh, we don't know. Now, another thing that we could do, for example, be kind of inventive about this. We can make a little more batch of woods in a little container, and we can process the 9 minute pass way before while we do something, and then we add them together. You follow? We basically create the hot wood, on the side, or do it in parallel. Let's say you're gonna do it in 90 minutes. You start already half processing in 90 minutes at the beginning in the smaller batch,
Okay.
like a quart size of thing, and then we can put them together. Kind of the same concept like hop extract. Hop oil, but we do it like our own. We make it our own in our own kitchen.
Yeah.
Beer,
Yeah.
Making beer is like there's no rule on it. You just make it, somehow the result come out good. And of course, if we don't try to win awards, then they're just a different characteristic. We just make beer for our own enjoyment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Speaking of time and hop oil extract and doubling things, and I had an interesting, I'll call it a conversation with somebody, and I'm not 100% educated on how this works. So I'm curious if you know Trong or Christopher, if you're hanging with us, if you understand, or anybody else in chat, if you guys have heard about how they process dried malt extract. And Trong, we've talked about doing some extract batches and converting our beers into extract. And, when it comes to not boiling, which is a challenge for normal hop utilization, but when you're talking about raw beer or raw ale, which is a brewing technique and a brewing style, right? And when you're doing a raw ale, traditionally, you're taking your all-grain mash and you're extracting it, and you're putting it in a fermenter, and you're pitching your yeast, and there's no boil as part of that at all. It's a raw ale. But when you're trying to replicate that style with extract, as an example, my understanding has always been that the maltsters will malt the grain, they will create the mash, and then once the mash is done, they will kind of mash out, sparge out to kill the enzymes, and then they'll almost freeze dry it, or they will put it through an evaporator that reduces the ambient pressure, like a vacuum, a partial vacuum, to lower the temperature, and then let it evaporate off to minimize impact of the boil. Now, I've heard some other people argue that no, they don't do that. They actually boil it to remove the water. And I've reached out to a couple of maltsters. I'm waiting for a response back, but I'm just curious if other people and what they think and what they talk about as far as extract creation and the way that they remove the liquid in the water. Are they boiling it? Are they throwing it through an evaporator? Are they doing a combination of both? Like, Trong, what have you heard? What do you understand?
No, that's something I don't understand, and I think that they probably do two steps. I think they probably need to boil that thing to create some character of the grain and the extract, and then they basically develop the flavor profile, and then they need to get rid of the moisture, and they're probably the second thing they're going to do is a vacuum, in a vacuum extraction, meaning there's a word like de-water. They have to go through a de-watering process, but they have to do at low temperature because they don't want to affect the quality of the hen.
Right.
So that they can do that at low pressure under vacuum to pour that kind of like freeze dry orange juice, right? The way they do freeze dry orange juice.
It's a similar idea. You lower the ambient pressure so that it boils at a lower temperature, which minimizes the heat impact on whatever it is you're trying to remove the moisture from. I wonder with the dry malt extract, do they need to boil it to enhance the flavors?
I think they have to, otherwise it's just selling sugar. If they just take something and they just convert it to sugar and get rid of water so that they can sell, then that becomes just sugar. They want to do some character,
Yeah.
I think they should do that. And talking,
I don't know, because the malt itself, especially when they go to boil, it already has some complexity in it, and if they don't boil it, then they allow the home brewer to be able to boil it, to develop the malt reactions, to add the hops, and to be able to adjust the flavor as they see fit. If they're pre-filling and it's almost like it's baked in, I don't know. I'll let you know when I hear back. I reached out to Brees, I think, was one of the maltsters that I reached out to. I'll let you know when I hear back about how they process their DME, because I've heard it on both sides, that if you're trying to make a raw ale, you do all grain, you don't boil it, that's a raw ale. If you're using dried malt extract and you're making a raw ale, they've already boiled it, it's not technically raw ale. So I'm curious as to what the process is. So I'm going to reach out to the community to kind of, because I don't know. I'm phoning a friend here, so it's a weird question, I know.
Okay, time to go in yet?
Huh?
And the second half edition go in?
Let's see where we're at for time, because that was a 90-minute hop. We are... no, not yet. I mean, you might be.
Yeah, actually.
Because you started before me, but the first hop edition was a 90-minute. The second one is at 15 minutes at the end of the boil. So I'm tracking another 38 minutes for mine.
Okay, so mine for you. Mine will go in. Yeah. Now, another thing I want, kind of related subject. I was thinking when I watch a video about making yeast starter, I wonder whether we just use dextro instead of dry malt extract and yeast.
Oh, good question. Good question. So here's my understanding. Go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
Now, so that one, we don't have all the bubbling or the foaming thing, and also it's cheaper, and then of course, the sugar is sugar. The yeast can eat the sugar, but it needs some other ingredients, so we do like dextro and a little bit of yeast food. We have all the other accoutrements for the yeast to grow, then we can make yeast powder real cheap.
That's interesting. And chat, please chime in with this. This is a good question. So my understanding is that when you're doing yeast and you give them a simple sugar diet, especially at the beginning of fermentation, their metabolism changes and they are unable to process the more complex sugars that come in malt. So it's interesting, doing a yeast starter with dextrose, does that convert their metabolism so they're unable to process the somewhat more complex sugars of the malt? Or does adding a yeast nutrient help them be able to process that?
Well, as a geneticist, I say that's bullshit. I mean, the yeast, they just need to grow, and then in such a short time, they're not going to change the physiology. Certainly the genetic hasn't changed, the physiology didn't change. They just make a bunch of more yeast, and now you give them other stuff, they just go for it. So as a home brewer, we don't want to fool around with, sometimes it's hard to try more extract in the right amount. We don't use a lot. But dextro everywhere. Dextro, we have back of dextro. Every time you buy something, they give you some back extra for secondary fermentation. So I have a bunch of them. So I think, but I'm sure don't want to grow my yeast on just dextro. I want to give them some vitamins and all the other things that the yeast, some yeast food can do that, right? So.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way, but it actually kind of makes sense. For those who don't know, Trong, in a prior existence, a prior life, was a geneticist, so he understands how a lot of the microbiology reacts to things and how things change over time. And so that's a good point, because yeast do adapt very quickly to the environment because they're fungus. But in a single generation, that's a little too fast.
You can do it 1,000 years, then that loses the ability to process complex sugar. But if you do it in a couple hours, a couple days, it's not going to change. That you remember
No, I think over 1,000 years, especially for yeast, as far as their life cycle, like that seems a bit extreme. But in a single generation, 2 generations, no, probably not, because if they adapted that quickly and couldn't unadapt, or were not
genes still there, on the gene metabolism still there.
They'd be extinct. So, okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Okay. Or I wonder, Trong. Okay, here's a question for you then, as a geneticist. So you give them a sucrose or a sugar diet as a starter, and they're growing up under that. And they get very used to the environment that they're growing up in, and that's what they multiply in, and that's what they adapt to. Does switching them over to more of a malt sugar or a more complex sugar, they don't die, because that would be stupid from an evolutionary standpoint, but maybe the flavor profile isn't quite the same because they're stressed, and so they're producing more esters, and so maybe that's why you don't give them a sucrose or a simple sugar diet before putting them back in. I've thrown it out there. I have no idea. No idea.
Potentially that could happen. It may be true because then we engineer the additives. We put, instead of putting just, yeast food, we put yeast food with some extra thing that, let the yeast, fool the yeast to know that you are going to be doing what I want you to do when you're eating this stuff. So it's a relatively simple problem to solve, and it's probably not noticeable.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting to talk about too, because there's the evolutionary microbiological standpoint of, can things survive? Are they okay? And what flavor are they going to produce putting them under those conditions? It's an interesting question. You know what I mean? And a lot of the stuff that we understand and things that I've read sometimes is outdated. There's more information. There's better things coming on it. And I hate the phrase, why do you do it that way? Because that's the way we've always done it. Well, wrong answer. That's not acceptable. That's not okay.
So, look at the Pot-Au-Brew, the way I designed it, made it so different. Everything is changed, like from the post, liquid and gas do the same thing, and there's a lot of crazy thing in here, but it works. Designed it for the purpose of making it work well.
All right. Christy, do we got a chat or a question or something? What do we got?
We just had some comments. It was most Christopher commented about hops and the long boil.
Okay. No.
We were talking about, and he said that long boil hops is most, if not all, of the volatile aroma and the flavor of the acid or alpha acid.
Which is what makes them bitter. Sorry, read that to me one more time.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to take a peek here. Let's just see. So long boil, hops lose most, if not all, of the volatile aroma flavor components. Only the alpha acids remain. But usually for a long boil, the alpha acids are what creates or contributes to the bitterness that is retained because the alpha acids isomerize or become more soluble in the boil itself. So you're losing the volatiles, the aromas, but you're gaining the bitterness. And Christopher, if I'm misunderstanding you, please correct me because this is a learning day for me. I love this. This is fantastic.
But that's why we also, in addition to the long boil hop, we also have short boil hop, and sometimes you put the hop, at the end, the whirlpool hop, and sometimes put dry hop. You put all kind of thing, yeah?
Exactly. Christopher says, one reason why first wort hop doesn't seem to make a huge difference. And that makes sense because you're adding a hop oil to the wort at a low temperature, which is obviously taking in a lot of those volatile compounds, and then you boil the crap out of it for 60 minutes or 90 minutes, and all those volatiles go away. That is a good point, Christopher. Thank you for that. Nice. And I've done first wort hopping before, and I enjoy it. I like it. But again, the flavor of beer is always perception, so there's a science behind it. It makes you wonder, like, is it a placebo thing, or am I really experiencing first wort hopping? Because it is volatile. That's a good question. Good additions. This has been a good session so far, Trong, I have to say. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the chat. We've talked about some fun stuff here. This is great.
I was thinking leaning to create a homebrew so that I put it you extract because I want to have good beer, but I don't have to spend a lot of time to do other things, right?
Especially with my and match schedule, sure.
But I think the hop part contribute the most to beer. So what I want to concentrate on using somehow figure a way to utilize the hop to give me the best result. And I'm Asian, so a lot of my family, they don't like bitter so much. They like the AB with the fruity aromas and things like that, but don't like the bitter. So I always, when I make IPA for my family, I always like putting the hop for the tail end, like 15 minutes and 10 minutes and so on and so forth. And they love it when they're not so bitter. So I'm trying to think now, when I make this, after the thing boil, the water is at boiling temperature. But it's going to stay at that high temperature, pretty high, for a long time. Even though long, relatively term, maybe 10, 15 minutes before it cools down. So if I can put my hops in here, for the tail, all the hops I put in here and I close it, and I quickly put in my swimming pool so it's cool down real fast so that I don't over process my hops. I probably come out very good results with a guy flavor without a lot of bitter and not spending a lot of time boiling it. So I would like him to do that experiment,
Yeah,
and
no, I think that's a good experiment.
Because the hop process, they will be processed, the alpha acid will be, as I summarized, when the temperature above 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And they're going to stay, even after I close it, put in my swimming pool, they're going to stay over 180 degrees for at least 10 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
So during that time, the hop will be processed. Now the thing question is, if I put in the hop stock, I remove all the hop matter out, the thing that's already in the beer will just continue to process that out, right? And I think my answer to that is probably is. Because all the chemicals that come out of the hop matter, and they stay be continue to be converted as soon as the temperature got higher. It stays high. So.
Yes. Now, what's not happening is because the hop matter is not in there or as is prevalent, it's not continuing to feed that reaction or additional alpha acids into it. But the existing hop oils that are in there, I would imagine would continue to process and change flavor over time, which one of the things we talk about homebrewing is why you want to cool your homebrew down as quickly as possible. It's to control everything. Like you're adding the hops, you're doing this. Okay, now chill it so nothing else happens as far as interactions with the organic chemistry. So but you can always account for that. If you know you're doing a no chill boil, you can account for that in the hops. And your vessels are sealed under pressure, floating in your pool. So it's okay. Maybe the delicate oils of the hops are evaporating off, but where are they going? They're not escaping in the air. They're trapped in the vessel. So do they get trapped in the condensation and fall back in? Do they get reabsorbed? Like, what's the impact of it?
And actually, I do that. I use my pressure fermentation and my spending valve to that advantage, because when I ferment it like for a 5 psi for 2 or 3 days, and then I dry hop that and I raise it up, the pressure setting up to 20 psi, so high that usually I don't lose any gas. So most of the gas was trapped inside. So my thinking is that anytime I lose some gas, CO2 gas, I lose something more than just CO2. I use flavor. So that's what I try to dry hop for the tail end, and then raise the temperature pressure so high that very few CO2 and very little gas leave the container.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. All right, how's our boil? I got another half hour here on the boil.
This is the longest
I
ever brewed.
I will come up with a better recipe next time, or we'll do one of yours next time, and we can do an extract. Keep it kind of short. This is a long day for sure, but I appreciate the people in chat hanging out with us and brewing along with us or following along, asking such great questions.
How long should I ferment this thing? Like a week, and then cold press and drink, or I have to lager it too?
No, you don't have to lager it. No, not from my experience. No, because the dark malt that's in there, I feel like it does need a lot of lagering time with it. I'm trying to remember when I just did it in the Pot-Au-Brew, it fermented super fast. I think it was done in like a week. I threw a tilt hydrometer in there and measured it out. It was done in like a week. And then I think I left it sit another week, cold crashed, and it was good. And even after bottling it, it's aged really, really well.
So after this 30-minute boil, then what's the next steps?
So we got 30 minutes till the next step. We're going to add more hops for the 15-minute boil and whatever clarifier you want if you've got it. And then after 90 minutes, the boil will be done. And then from there, we'll basically put the lid on it and let it cool overnight before we pitch the yeast. So once the boil's done, our brew day is pretty much done for today. So we'll take some questions. We'll see if anybody else has anything for us. And then we'll just let it sit overnight. So it's good. Trong, are you opening more champagne, or what are you doing there?
I'm just trying to see if I can only use half of my yeast.
Okay.
So the way I do, I try to break quarter in half, and I get most of the yeast on one side, and then I seal the end, both ends, so that I can cut it in half.
Okay.
So, and then I don't usually use this yeast, so I don't want to. This is a lager yeast, right? So I don't.
It is a lager yeast, yes, but because we're under pressure, that gives you about 10 degrees of leeway with the temperature, so you can still ferment it at ale temperatures and still be okay. And I really wanted to use, because I think I did for this batch, it was the SafLager, getting old, I can't see, the S23. And that's what I used to ferment the first batch. I was really trying to go for a European lager ale, like a liquid white labs or a Wyeast. Unfortunately, our local homebrew shop did not have it, so I had to improvise. And that's kind of been a challenge, is finding the right ingredients and the right stuff for what I'm trying to brew. It's been a challenge. And we just had another homebrew store that closed.
Yeah.
Got 5 days ago, so we've got one left in kind of Arizona, and that's it. It's the hobby is in decline. So again, anything that keeps people brewing, I don't care what system they're using, I'm okay with.
Yeah, I think that some appliance like iGuru will bring people into brewing because it's so easy. Huh? Yeah,
It is, and there's limitations with the system. I mean, there's no denying that. It is a very approachable system. It's a great way to come into it. There is an investment in money, like it's expensive to buy, but you also get more efficient time with it. But you're also limited with what you can do. So I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Someone that's buying that Gulu has no interest in buying the Pot-Au-Brew. And someone that wants the Pot-Au-Brew has no interest in buying the iGulu. They are completely separate markets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're different market altogether.
Altogether. And, both have pros and cons. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think that, hallelujah to them. I think that as long as get people drinking beer, making beer at home, I think for the people who want to create their own flavor, they want a beer, the kind of beer that they like that doesn't exist, then I do enough for them at the beginning. Maybe they just want to get their feet wet, and eventually if they want to gravitate it to different, more crafty kind of brewing and do something else. The thing about the Pot-Au-Brew, we can use the Pot-Au-Brew and brew iGulu or brew pint, we brew anyway. We actually can brew it and we brew butter because we can have the better tool. See,
Absolutely.
we have the pressure, we have a better floating tool, a better tap, we have a better injector. So all we have to do, the only thing we do to brew on the iGulu, this is how I brew with the iGulu with this. So I think I put a little water in my Pot-Au-Brew. I close the lid up.
Yes.
Open the view, I put it on the stove, I boil it for a few minutes to use the steam. Remember, to me, it's very important to sanitize, right? So I put it on the steam, I put it on to steam the thing for about a few minutes. Then I open the lid up, and I do the rest. I pour the thing in, and I put the hot extract in, I put the yeast, I close it, and then I ferment it, right? And then when the time is done, I can trim, I can put it in my refrigerator to chill. It takes faster to chill in my refrigerator than to chill in some other appliance with the thermoelectric cooler because it takes a long time, like 20 hours or so to chill the thing. So for me to put it in like 8 hours and it's done, 5 hours, very cool. So we can adapt it to do anything.
Oh, yes.
Right? And,
well, and not just beer. It can do food as well. We talked about kimchi. We talked about the sauerkraut. We talked about kombucha. It does a lot of things. Again, they're two separate markets. And with homebrew being in such decline, I am not opposed to whatever it takes to get people interested in the hobby again. Because here's the thing. If they get interested in it at a base level and it's easy, but they want to learn more, that will springboard them into more complicated or more involved things. Whatever it takes to get into the hobby so that we keep the community going, I'm okay with. It's a bread machine versus making bread by hand. Are you limited with what you can do with the bread machine? Absolutely, yes, you are. But they're still making bread, and they're learning an appreciation. So I can't fault the fact that the bread machine's expensive, and if you make it yourself, it's cheap. It's a different demographic. So are there limitations? Is it something that I would have started brewing with? Absolutely not. I would not have gone to the iGulu and brewed that as my first beer. But I'm also a nerd, I'm a geek, and I love to build things. Not my demographic. So they're really, really different. Christy, do we have a chat or anything?
Yeah, actually.
We're waiting furiously. I apologize. I went off on a tangent there.
Christopher had asked, did either of you make any water adjustments?
Oh, attaboy. Doing the water chemistry. All right. Well, Trong, did you do some filtered spring water or filtered tap water?
I just use tap water. in my thing, because I happen to be, my city have pretty decent tap water. At UC Davis, about 20 miles from here, their water is terrible because they use well water. But we use river water, so
Yeah.
so our water is good enough to brew, without
Got it.
any.
And so
if I live in Davis, I better brew water or other things.
which is good. You're fortunate. The water here in Arizona is super hard. There's so many particulates and things dissolve. Generally, when I brew, I do RO and I build it back. And I'm trying to remember specifically what I threw into this particular recipe. I did do water salts. I did do water adjustments. It was baking soda, calcium chloride, and gypsum, I think. I'm not going to give out the amounts right this second. I will post that later, though. I have to go back and look at my notes.
It's going to vary, though, right? It's going to vary depending on where you're at, right?
If you're using RO water, no.
Okay.
No, because RO strips out pretty much everything, and that's why I like it, because I'm not smart. I'm not smart enough. Water chemistry, I bought a water book, and I tried to understand it. I'm like, oh, absolutely not. I cannot do this. But if you start with RO water, it strips everything out, and you can rebuild it from scratch. So, yes, I did adjust the water salts and the water profile. I will post that after this live stream is ended, once I can go back and review my notes, because I don't want to give you bad information. I want to make sure it's accurate.
I do want to just point out Christopher had some comments. So
Yeah.
he said same with where he's at with brew stores, so he has to get everything online right now. And he also
Such a
said
shame now.
he initially got into brewing by telling. They initially got into brewing by telling ourselves we're saving money. And in the long term, it's just a nice hobby to make something we want to enjoy for our preferences. He said,
Oh, and can I pause you for a second, Christy? Chris, I love that. Getting in the hobby to save money. Yeah, when I used to do the math on my per bottle cost, I do a 10-gallon batch, I can get this at the store for $1.50 a bottle, and I'm making this for 77 cents. I am ahead of the curve. I'm not taking into account the propane to boil it, the cost of the equipment, and the system that I built, all the stainless pots. Didn't matter. I was loving it and having fun. So I appreciate and respect you saying that you got into it to save some money, because that's the same reason I stepped up from extract to all grains. So respect.
he's also calling Trong out, asking where his beer is, because we always have to drink beer, at least one beer, while brewing the beer.
Oh,
It's how we make good beer.
there you go. Trong, are you enjoying a beer or just drinking champagne? What's happening, my friend?
No, I drink beer and champagne, and I think that because the way I can drink champagne, I like one kind of champagne, my wife like another kind of champagne. So we have 2 bottles of champagne open, and we drink. She drinks a little glass. I drink a whole champagne. I drink my little glass of champagne, and our 2 bottles of champagne last for weeks.
Yes.
And so it's a luxury that we have, and I think people should do that, because you don't need to drink a lot. Just like I make beer, but I don't drink a lot of beer. Look, I don't have any beer belly.
Trong, you're shaming me. That's why I wear black. It's very slimming. All right, so Trong is drinking champagne today. He's fancy like that. Anything else from Chris?
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. You've been amazing.
You've been very active in the chat.
comments.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun today, so thank you very much. Hopefully you've subscribed to our channel if you haven't already, and maybe you've already subscribed. I don't know, but maybe you stumbled upon us and found the cool brewing method, and we've been doing some work with Trong for the past year and learning his inventions, and we've had a number of good conversations. He's been on the podcast again. You got to come back and be on the podcast again. I got to schedule some time so you can join us. It's been a fun journey.
You think this system, the way we brew with the Pot-Au-Brew, is very suitable for socializing and brew along, because everything is here. We can brew everything basically within our arm reach here. We don't have to run around. We do right here. So I can do it in my kitchen, you can do it in your kitchen, and then we can socialize and interact and so on and so forth. I think that aspect of it is exciting for me, because normally when you brew day, you have a bunch of guys together and you spend the whole day, you drinking beer and you brew beer together and you do all the cleanup together. But with the Pot-Au-Brew, it takes some time to brew, like half an hour or so. You have time to associate. If it takes something only 5 minutes to brew, now you don't have time to socialize, right? By the time you say hi, you're done, because you open the thing up, you pour it in, you stir, you put the yeast in, you close it, and you put the bottom, you're done. So that's too short. This is, I think, with the Pot-Au-Brew, give you the right level of complexity and sharing information and learning different way of doing things. It's the right. This aspect of brewing exciting to me.
Definitely. And again, I chose a very complicated mash and hop schedule for today. So going forward, we'll keep it simple. We'll double the hops. We'll definitely make it fast and easy. Again, I'm just, traditional German mashing schedule to optimize flavor, which probably isn't necessary. But again, it's nice to be able to stream and talk to you and talk about a lot of your stuff. So we appreciate it.
I want to do this once. I want to do with the long hop schedule, and I never do the double block before. So this is like I'm really looking forward to it.
We could probably eliminate some steps. I mean, they're highly modified. We don't necessarily need a protein rest. People argue it adds complexity and flavor, but again, you don't need a protein rest with this. There's no adjuncts. We're not like we're mashing rice or oatmeal or corn, or that need that extra protein rest or a cereal mash to get them modified. So, or not modified, converted. That's the term I'm looking for. It's been a good day. Had a couple beers here, so it's nice.
Now, the double block that you brew before, did you brew with the Pot-Au-Brew?
Which one?
With the double block that you brew.
The Doppelbock?
Yeah, the one that we're brewing right now.
Yes, I did that with the Pot-Au-Brew, and it came out absolutely fantastic. And I bottled what I had left, and it was fantastic. And I did follow this exact same process. Like this is what I brewed, this is what I did. So it really came out nice. So I'm hoping the people that enjoy it. I hope Jerry, who obviously ended up rabbiting out of here, I'm sure his will turn out just fine. So it's definitely it's a good beer, a good recipe.
Now, I mean to ask you this, but I haven't. This is not your day job, right?
No, this is what Christy and I do for fun.
Yeah.
On the weekends and the evenings, we're building a community. We're teaching people how to homebrew. We're looking at equipment and looking at it and saying, is this valuable? Is it not? It's a passion hobby that we do. So we enjoy it. We've learned about technology and streaming and cameras and stuff that most people will probably be bored with, but we enjoy learning, and that's kind of part of the homebrew. Like, you're always learning something.
I think I hope the Pot-Au-Brew and the Ayinger kind of product would kind of give you an opportunity to build up your fan base. With more people get involved in learning this thing. I think the opportunity to share information with something like Pot-Au-Brew is more, because it's a little more complicated than something to open a pack and put in. But
I think the fact that you can start out doing the extract brewing on it makes it extremely approachable. It's definitely it's not as hands-free as a lot of the stuff that's out in the market now, but back when normal people learned home brewing, it was not hands-free. The Pot-Au-Brew does make it much more simple, much less intimidating to get into the hobby. And like I said before, I want people to get into the hobby. I want it to be approachable. I don't want the snobby, because we've had comments on our YouTube videos of people that are, they'll say, you're brewing extract, you're not a real brewer. Okay, slow down. You're making beer. If you're making beer, you're a brewer. I don't care how you do it. If you have a giant all-grain system, if it's extract on the stovetop, if it's in a beer machine on your countertop, I don't care. You're forwarding the hobby. And that is what is important. That's what builds the community, and that's what we need right now, because it's a hobby that's slowly fading away, and it's unfortunate. There's so much benefit to it. There's so much sharing that happens with it. Like, we are not omitting anybody from this hobby. However you get into it, welcome aboard. Doesn't matter.
Really quick, I just wanted to comment. So Christopher said that, thanks, Trong, maybe I need to drink more champagne to keep these up. And he also wants to know, Trong, did you name your home brewery? Do you have a home brewery name?
Ooh,
That's a
good question.
I didn't hear what the question again?
What is the name of your main homebrew system? Did you give it a name?
Oh, my home system?
Name your home brewery.
As an example, the system I built is named Brutus. That is what I named my system. Does your system have a name? Besides Pot-Au-Brew?
This system, the Pot-Au-Brew, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Well, even our space is like the garage. We have a name for it though.
No, I don't have a name. I don't have a microbrewery. I do everything in this kitchen. No, you see, I make things. We have shipped 15,000 picnic taps from this kitchen. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, everything we send out, we test every single one, because we ship them all over the world. We can't afford to ship them there, and then that doesn't work, right? Not only that, everything we send out, they come with spare parts. Because if something goes wrong, at least you can fix most of it with the spare part that come with that.
You know, that's true. With all the stuff that you sent us and the stuff that you shipped out and things that I bought, like, it always comes with a spare O-ring, or there's always the spare part, especially the stuff that typically wears out over time. Like, you're very thoughtful about that. It's not, here's the thing, and if you need a replacement, go ahead and order it. You are really setting this up for like a lifetime of use. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, I do it for myself, and then so whenever people have trouble, I spend on the phone with them, I do Zoom with them, I do face, just to show them how to do that. And a lot of these things, we can fix that if they have the right part. See, so
right.
I think that's one thing that I really like about your working with you and your company, though, is that you're accessible. I think that's nice, that it's almost like you're a personal concierge for the product. So, like, if anyone has a problem, they know they can reach out to you, and you're going to get back to them right away. It's personalized customer service versus a big corporation where you might have to open a ticket or send an email and someone doesn't get back to you in like 3 days. So I do really appreciate the fact that you're always, you respond, you're available, you believe in your product, and it's you. It's not like a bot or like a chat, it's you responding, so I think that's really cool.
Christy, there's nothing wrong with our website, which has a chat bot on it, okay? No, but Trong, I think, is unique in this day and age where everything is automated, everything is AI, and everything is bought on Amazon. There's no interaction with the seller. And the brewing community is very much about interactions and talking with people. And the way that Trong sells his stuff is, for some of the stuff, like the yeast farmer, as an example, you got to email him to get it. Yeah. And when you buy the Pot-Au-Brew, you got to email him, and he'll schedule a training and a Zoom, and it's a very one-on-one kind of interaction, which, I got to be honest, it took me a couple months to understand. I'm like, I don't understand why is it not posted? Why is it not done? It's because he's building a community. It's because he wants you to understand the process that he has put in place is so good, you need to understand it. So you can't mess it up, so that you can brew and appreciate what you have. I mean, it is a different mindset that is kind of lost in this day and age of e-commerce and sell. He wants you to buy the product, obviously, but he wants you to understand how it works and the benefits of it. I mean, it's such an amazing thing to be able to. I wouldn't say we're partnering with you, Trong, but I would definitely say we're collaborating with you.
I tell you an example of what you just said. I sell thousands of products on eBay, and I haven't got a single negative feedback. A single, like no return, nothing. 1,000 on eBay. I
Yeah.
sell on Amazon. I sell a lot on Amazon. Actually, more than I sell on eBay. But I hate selling on Amazon because Amazon is a transactional. You know, people,
Yeah.
especially when you make innovative product, it takes some doing. And so I have like 5-star review, 4.7 point review, and I have a lot of positive feedback, and then one feedback says doesn't work. You see, I look at that and say, I think the reason that doesn't work because you're tubing it too long. But instead of like email me and call me, leave a message, hey, what happened here? If I can tell you, oh, you're tubing it too long, you just cut it down. They don't. They just go in there and just start bashing your products. And I wish I could reach out to them and tell them that, but on Amazon you can't. They're not allowing you to connect from the buyer and seller. They don't connect at all. And the idea of connecting and get some enlightening about the new product, it doesn't exist on Amazon. I hate selling on Amazon. I sell a lot on Amazon.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the stuff you sell on Amazon because that does help out us as far as our channel and our brand. So I appreciate that. But I understand what you're saying, and there's a wall there where they separate the buyer from the seller. And when you have an honest to goodness product, you want that interaction, you want that community, and that's something that is missing that you are trying to do. I wouldn't say trying to do, you are doing. And so it's definitely a different strategy.
Different mindset, it's too transactional, you know, like,
Yeah.
and then everybody will compete for price. My thing
Yeah.
on Amazon is more expensive than anything on Amazon to say no. But I sell more than any of other people.
Well, that's because it's worth the money. Your float at 2.0, again, if you haven't bought that yet, oh my God, guys, buy it. Put it in your kegs, put it in your fermenters. That thing is awesome. And buy it on Amazon because it helps us out. But sales pitch aside, there's a reason that it's most expensive, but it's worth it, and it lasts a long time. So, like, there's a reason for it. I'm going to add another hop edition, my final hop edition, and a World Fog tablet. Chrissy, do we have a comment or a question from the chat?
We do. I think this one would hit close to home for both of us.
Okay.
Sadly, the Celebrator.
The Celebrator?
Yeah, Celebrator.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but
it's no longer packaged with the horse from the bottle.
Oh my God! You know what? I noticed that. I noticed that. So usually we'll get a 4-pack of it, and I thought they were goats. Hang on, alarm. There we go. I always thought they were goats. There it goes. Okay. I always thought they were white goats on the red thread that were around the bottles, and I never understood why. I'm like, why do they have goats on this? I don't care. Christmas decorations. And so we decorated your tree one year with a bunch of those.
I'm not kidding. I have them. I still have them, and I put them on my tree for years.
So they don't have the horses anymore. That is a shame. That's a shame. Christopher, thank you for the update. I appreciate that. We're not throwing those out. We're hanging on to those, though.
He did say, oh yeah, goats. I don't know. They might be horses. I actually have no idea.
I thought they were goats. Maybe they're horses. I mean, horses would make more sense. I feel like it's more of a majestic animal than a goat.
So
Although goats greatest of all time, so I don't know.
So where can I buy this beer? Can I buy this beer, this Doppelbock at the Total Wine Mall?
It's in California, especially. It's got to be distributed there. It's the Ayinger Celebrator. It's a dark brown bottle, has a whitish label. Apparently, no more goats or horses on the neck of it. It is an absolutely phenomenal beer. It's really, really good. And this, again, it's not the same because it's hard to replicate, but it's very close, very close to that beer. And it's a Doppelbock. It's absolutely amazing.
Where did you get the recipe from?
Was this one that I'd had for a while, Christy? I can't remember.
This is the first time we've heard it.
Well, not this one, but we did it before.
I just can't remember. Like, I don't. Did we?
Well, we did it in the Pot-Au-Brew like 3 weeks ago.
Right. I know what I mean. Like,
prior to that, no, we hadn't brewed it. I think it's been in my recipe book for probably 10 years. I don't think I had brewed it. I don't remember if I got it from like a homebrew magazine or a homebrew store or something. I had gotten it from. This is not my recipe. I cannot take credit for this. This is way too good for something I can come up with. But it is so delicious and it's so spot on. And even if it doesn't match what the Celebrator is, it's still a delicious beer. Like it is a phenomenal Doppelbock. It's an excellent example of the style if you have the right yeast. Definitely,
Well,
yeah.
But the way this brew today, I can see that this should be a very good beer. I mean, the
It
way
better
that
be
we
the
have
amount
to
of
do
time I
step
made
mash
admit to.
and the boiling time and all this hop addition. That stuff gotta be good. Now,
It's good.
especially brew in the Pot-Au-Brew, man, it's gotta be good too.
It's
right?
got to be good. Frog, it will change your life, and I guarantee it. And if you don't like it, you can return your beer
Yeah.
to me.
Because it's done perfectly. I mean, in terms of sanitation, you got it right. You under ferment under pressure.
Oh yeah, no, there's no risk of off flavors or infection with this. No, absolutely not.
So usually you pack for this. How much yeast you gonna throw in there and try 11 grams? You don't
Well,
need a whole-
originally in the first batch I did, it was a third of a pack is what I pitched in there. For this one, I will pitch my. It's in the fridge right now, but it's the repitch from the same batch, which I captured with the yeast farmer. I yeast washed it to kind of get all the true things, which I need to get better at as far as yeast washing. And I've had a lot of requests from the last video who are like, yeah, show me how to yeast wash. I'm like, all right, I've only done it a couple times. I need to get better at it. With the yeast farmer, it makes it super easy.
But you think that you have to agree with me that every rum brewer should have a yeast farmer, man, because it's so useful. Like you can just.
No, I don't think every brewer should have a yeast farmer. Any brewer that is serious about their beer should have a yeast farmer. Okay, and I'm going to bring up the Igulu again, which I know you love. So if you're Igulu brewing and things, yeast farmer, probably not your deal, because you're going to have a fresh patch of yeast. You're going to do your beer in the machine, all of that. If you're doing Pot-Au-Brew, if you're doing full boil or full-size fermentation, the yeast farmer is definitely a game changer. And I think I mentioned you earlier where I was looking at the pure pitch. That's what I was trying to remember. It's that 16-ounce can of wort that's pre-done. You crack it open and pour it. Those are like $15 a can, which I get, and it's convenient. For 4 minutes in the microwave, you can have sterile wort that you can throw in the fridge for an indefinite amount of time, and then pitch the yeast when you're ready.
So I'm thinking while I'm thinking brewer, I don't think about the Igulu in my mind. Yeah, I mean, they are brewer. I have no doubt, but it's not in my mind. I agree with you that. I agree with that.
I know you're not
don't
trying
need
to
it.
Gulu. No, I know that.
You don't
But-
need that.
And well, here's the other thing too, that like I hadn't heard of the yeast farmer until I don't know if it was our last live stream we did where you mentioned it, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that you have something you can throw in the microwave, literally sterilized wort for yeast starters in 4 minutes, and you're not selling it. It's not on the website. It's not anywhere. And you're like, well, I did this for me. This is what I did. And I'm like, I got a couple of spares here and whatever. I'm like, dude, send me. I want to do video on it. I want to do multiple videos on it because it is so invaluable. It is such a time saver to be able to do that. And of course,
And
I got
peace of mind. Remember, I used to teach microbiology at university, so I freaked out to see my students. I can explain to them sterile technique, and I do all these pipette and things like that. And next thing you know, they put the pipette on the counter. I say, what? No. So, sterilization is really always in my mind.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, I totally get that. And I had a thought for this. Sorry, I've had a lot of beers. It's been a fantastic brew day. What shocked me the most is, how easy it is to sanitize and sterilize the wort that you're using to be able to make the starter. And of course, please forgive me for saying this. Typical of you, you send me your yeast, a farmer, and it's the lid, separate ring, and the thing. It doesn't even have the guard on it. Hold on, I gotta visualize this here.
Yeah.
Trong, I love you to death. Please do not be offended. Here's the deal. He's so innovative. He's constantly improving and improving and improving. My original yeast starter I got was like a mason jar lid. It had an iron, the aluminum ring or the metal ring, and then a separate lid with the filter on top. And then he sent me a new version, which then was one solid piece, and it had a silicone grip so you can grab it when it's hot. This was like within 2 weeks. So he had been working on it for himself, and then he sent me here's a sample. Take a look at it, make a video, like play around with it, do your thing. I'm like, this is awesome. He's like, oh wait, I've improved it some more. Let me send you the new version. And then I get one that's all one piece with a silicone thing and a new filter and he is constantly innovating. And so, and that's why I'm like, why is this thing not for sale? Yeah. I have 2 of them now, and I'm constantly using them over and over again.
Let you explain some of the subtle things. The little band here, silicone band, give you some friction so you can turn. Plus, when you come out of the microwave, that thing may be hot. So
it's hot.
That's also an insulator.
Oh, it's hot.
That band is not flat. It has a little air gap inside.
Yeah.
If you look closely, there's a little air gap here, so make it even cooler. So this is freaking very advanced design. I mean, it's not like a simple thing. And it's designed so that you can put one hand on here. Now remember, to do it correctly, you always open the thing with the left hand on the lid, the right hand underneath the jar, and you can do like this. So you can do both ways, go into quickly, see? So there's double force. See? And when you close on this hand. Again, using the force from your arm go in fast, stronger than go like this. So you do this when you open, and you do this and you close. See?
You even have a motion for closing and opening a jar. I love it.
Yeah, and you hold, because sometimes the lid you have, you can grip the lid, but the jar turns, so it's useless. You have to hold the jar in place when you turn the lid. So, you see that?
Yeah. Well, it makes it easy. Trong, how are you for your boil? I think I'm about near the end. How are you doing?
I'm doing. Now remember also, when you finish the boil, the liquid is hot, so it's gonna shrink. So you have to compensate for that. You mean you have to make it fuller, because don't be afraid to make it fuller. It's gonna shrink. So try to, if you want enough beer, fill it pretty much higher. Just think about it. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and I tried to compensate for boil off with the volume that we had, so I'm gonna
expand and contraction too.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave mine undiluted though. You get about 4% contraction when it cools, give or take. So I think we're about done. So
okay, now
He said he has to head out, so he is off the chat.
Christopher's off the chat. Well, we appreciate Christopher joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christopher. We appreciate the feedback.
Right, Christopher, yeah.
The notes. That was a lot of fun. All right. I'm pulling the hops out.
Yeah, hop socks out, right?
Yep. Boil is done. So I'm going to turn off my burner there. Man, that filter on this thing is so fine.
So now, it's actually pretty hot, right? So I usually would have a pair of tongs, like
Or
so.
chopstick. Where's my chopstick?
I do this.
Nope. Yep. That's about what I'm doing. Ouch. No, it's on the counter. It's not spilling anywhere. All right. All right. That is still super hot. We're going to put the lid on it.
Watch out. Make sure you got the Celebrator on the lid.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep. So we got our floating dip tube, which is all stainless, which can handle those hot boiling temperatures.
Yeah.
And it will help sanitize everything. Put the lid on.
No, where's your Celebrator?
I will do that.
Before you lock.
Yep. It's still just floating above the top. So I will put, since I spilled wort everywhere, our sandy vent on top. Good. It's locked.
Now you can
Put the lid now.
You do both sides. You do both sides. It goes a lot easier if you do like so.
Did yours come with 2 handles on it?
Yeah.
Oh, mine only has 1. Mine must have been the pre-production model.
No. Watch this. See? You see
Yep.
this?
Yep.
Put it down, right?
Yep.
And line up to the mark. So.
Yep.
And then you go. That's it.
Yeah. All right.
Do
Well, I
both
got
hands.
mine on.
You do both hands. It works better when you do both hands. You look
Oh,
balance
sure.
out.
For sure.
And
All
now,
right.
the thermometer. What does the thermometer say?
Let's see. It's still going up, but it's past 95.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's
sorry,
like
that's,
my quickly is right now over 200.
I was going to say that's Celsius. Mine's just over 200. There it goes.
So it's gonna be for a top about 210. So
Yeah.
meanwhile everything up here gets hot. The steam will go through the sending van, sterilize the sending van, and then when it cool down, it suck air in. Let the suck air in. When the temperature gets to pitching time, you open it, and then you put the yeast. Leave the sending van on for 4 hours
Okay.
before you remove it, and then put the spunding valve on.
I will definitely do that. And I will see how long it takes to, once it
And then,
down,
and
I'll
then
put my yeast.
when you put the spunding valve on, set the pressure to 0, turn it off so that you can see how quickly the
How
bubble
quickly it-
air come out. And
Okay.
after you remove the sending van, you should wait like an hour or so before you put the spunding valve on to avoid the possibility of the vacuum build up by the yeast.
Oh, yeah.
eating.
You don't want to suck back. Yeah, definitely. Okay.
And then you put it an hour later. So basically 5 hours from pitching time, you put the jellyfish on, and then you should mark when you begin to see the bubble. That will tell you the fermentation is starting.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. I will let you know. Keep me posted on how your fermentation goes and how the beer tastes at the end. Chrissy, anything else before we close down on
I think that's it. We don't have any more comments. I think everyone logged off, but it's been good.
It's
A
been
lot
a
of
good
great
stream.
chats.
Yeah. No, we
Now have
appreciate
fun.
everyone
Now,
tuning in.
Try to put some picture on our Facebook page to share with other people. We need some content on the thing.
Yes. Guys, if you haven't already, check out the new Pot-Au-Brew page on Facebook. I am pleasantly surprised with how fast it has grown, with people that are jumping in and chiming in and talking about the Pot-Au-Brew system and sharing tips and tricks and things like that. Check out other content on YouTube. Check out Homebrewer LAB at is it homebrewerlab.com? He's also on Amazon. He's also on eBay. He's all over the place, but he prefers his own website for sure.
Direct to me so I can communicate with you. Don't buy
Yeah.
on Amazon because I never know your problem.
Now we appreciate it very much. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for watching and participating. Trong, anything else you want to add before we close down our stream? And
we need to do a thing on South you know,
Okay.
like something on kimchi, you know, something on another beautiful Pot-Au-Brew.
Yes, please. I would like to be a part of that one. I love to cook, so I want to shoot a video on that.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I think that's good. So we'll let these beers ferment. Guys, stay tuned. We will have another stream scheduled in a month, possibly sooner. We'll do some more stuff with Trong, get some new brewers on. We appreciate all the engagement. We appreciate all the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Catch you later, my friends.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm gonna put it in